So lively, so proud, inspiring. In short, SLSPI. Welcome to the second day of our SLSPI Road, reaching optimum academic destination. Hashtag research route. Hashtag ready, set, goal. Hashtag SLSPI Road and hashtag road to excellence.
Hey, good morning. Research is a creative and systematic work undertaken to increase the stock knowledge. It involves the collection, organization, and analysis of information to increase understanding of a chosen topic. It is a systematic investigation and study of materials and sources in order to establish facts and reach new conclusions. And today, we are about to witness and support the chosen studies of our students in their practical research subjects. This only proves that SLSPIans are innovative and creative in all possible ways.
So before we proceed to the program proper, may we request everyone to be in total reverence and have a virtual atmosphere of respect for the opening prayer, which will be followed by the Philippine National Anthem. In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Amen.
Our most gracious and loving Father, the Creator of heaven and earth, we come before you today with humble hearts and we ask forgiveness for all the sins we have committed. Our hearts are grateful for all the wonders and blessings you have showered upon us. We thank you, Father, for sustaining knowledge and skills that help us to overcome challenges and led us wherever we are today. We thank you for our parents, teachers, school administration members, and friends who have taken their time to be with us all throughout, in presence or in prayers, to cheer us in whatever the outcome holds. We ask for your guidance in a senior high school culminating activity to go smoothly. May all be filled with joy, gratefulness, and thanksgiving to you, who provided strength and wisdom for us to become victorious. We bring back all the glory, praises, and honor to you alone. Amen.
Mga kababayan, ang pambansa. Mga kababayan, ang pambansang mga kababayan, ang pambansa.
Once again, good morning and welcome to the second day of our SLSPI Road, reaching optimum academic destination. Inspiring words of wisdom is a must for us to be mentally and spiritually inclined in everything we do. To formally welcome us all, let's all have our academic coordinator, Mr. Wayne Clyde Embalbuena, for the opening message. A virtual applause, please.
Mic check. Take the innovative road, ride the creative road. Let's reach the SLSPI road. It is always taking great pride and honor to present to you the efforts of our SLSPIans, especially in this endeavor where we get to dig deeper into the outputs of our innovative and creative students. A pleasant morning to everyone who is here in this assembly, especially to our panelists, our presenters for this session. I believe that it is with your taking of this challenge that we see the excellence and we adhere to what the DepEd has been initiating for us to be able to reach the optimum academic destination. And we always believe that with your full participation and with your full recognition of these advocacies where we see the achievements of our students, we are able to continue and to live up with the excellence that we are looking for. It is our hope that with this assembly, we're able to not only appreciate but also be inspired of what these things are lined up for us. With your presence here, I believe that everybody is warmed up and that everybody is already challenged to give their best. So lively, so proud, inspiring. Again, good morning.
Okay, thank you, Sir Wayne. So at this juncture, may we present to you our criteria for judging. Okay, for our research exhibit, we have the scientific process, which will take 40%, written communication, 20%, project creativity, 20%, project presentation, 20%, with a total of 100%.
For the research oral defense, overall breadth of knowledge 25%, quality of presentation 25%, responses to the questions 25%, and research relevance it's 25% with a total of 100%.
Okay, now let us meet our board of judges for the research exhibit and the research oral defense.
Let us begin with our first judge. She is a Child Protection Officer of NDDU IBED Lagao, Senior High School Department, year 2019 up to present. A club moderator of the Toast and Radio Masters Club of NDDU IBED Lagao, Senior High School Department, year 2019 up to present. A moderator of the Vision Schools Press Conference in radio broadcasting both for Filipino and English in NDDU Senior High School IBED Lagao, year 2019 up to present. And she is currently taking her Master's of Education major in Social Sciences at the University of Mindanao. Ladies and gentlemen, let us meet our first judge, Miss Camille Bautista.
Okay, for our second judge, he is a cum laude of a Bachelor of Arts in History from Mindanao State University, General Santos City. Currently pursuing a Master of Arts in Teaching Social Studies in Sultan Kudarat State University, Tacurong, and also a licensed professional teacher. Let us welcome our second judge, Mr. Chris John Momo.
And our third judge completed his academic requirements for Master of Arts in Anthropology at Ateneo de Davao University. He is affiliated with Youth Southeast Asian Leadership Initiative and Youth Leader Philippines Incorporated. a licensed professional teacher in social studies. Let's all welcome Mr. Alberto Pesudas Jr.
Okay, for our research congress, our oral defense panelists, we have our first panelist. We have Mr. Raymond Rusty Jaime. He graduated from San Pedro College, Davao City with a degree of Bachelor of Science in Guidance and Counseling. Completed his academic requirements and Master of Arts in Special Education at the University of Southeastern Philippines, Davao City. A former board of directors of the Philippine Red Cross South Cotabato chapter, a Red Cross Action Team volunteer, a former guidance counselor of SLSPI, and the assistant principal at the present of St. Lawrence's School of Pulamalok Incorporated. Ladies and gentlemen, our very own Mr. Raymond Rusty S. Jaime.
And our next judge is a graduate at Notre Dame of the Diangas College with a degree of Bachelor of Secondary Education, major in Religious Education, minor in Mathematics and Social Studies. Completed her Master of Arts in Education, major in Religious Education at Notre Dame of Marbelle University. Principal 2, and she is also the principal in charge of Polomolok Central and 3 District. Ladies and gentlemen, let us all welcome Ma'am Geraldine Hinalao.
Okay, so our third judge, our third panelist, he graduated from Quezon Colleges of Southern Philippines with the course of BS Ed Mathematics. His graduate studies is currently at University of Perpetual Health System, Dalta, Las Piñas City with MAED Mathematics, a DepEd teacher assigned at NBB-NHS ICT Coordinator, School Information Coordinator, Scribe News Team Director, presenter at SDSC Research Congress, and a creator of Project OPENS. Let us welcome Mr. Sandy M. Rivera, our third judge, our third panelist. And our last but not the least panelist, we have she has a certificate of distinction of academic excellence, cum laude of Mindanao State University, General Santos City on March 29, 2009, with a certificate of distinction, Junior Academic Excellence, Mindanao State University, General Santos City on March 30, 2008. Let us welcome Miss Hane Badilles. Okay, for the information of everyone, the Research Congress and the Research Exhibit will be a simultaneous activity. Now, for our Research Congress, our oral defense panelists, we have Ms. Frelyn T. Nara, with an educational background, a Teacher 1 of Tabuan M. Estrella National High School, Bislig City Division, Bislig City, Surigao del Sur. She graduated at the University of Southeastern Philippines, a news writer, a features writer, an editor-in-chief for 2 years with the school publication The Maharlikan. Again, let us welcome Ms. Frelyn T. Nara.
There you have it, ladies and gentlemen, our board of judges for this year's research exhibit and research oral defense.
Again, for today's oral defense, we have the following research titles. The first title, we have the quality evaluation on duck bones, powders as chalk.
The second research title for today's research oral defense is proposed e-tour website for Polomolok Biodiversity.
And the third research title, the impact of COVID-19 on the income of Polomolok tricycle drivers as basis for livelihood program.
And the next research title is we have filter and water absorption capacity of piñas made from Ananas comossus leaf fiber woven with cotton.
And our last research title, the efficacy of eco-adhesive from different plant saps. So there we have it, our research titles for our oral defense for this morning.
Let us now proceed to our defense proper, starting with our first researcher for today.
Okay, for our first researcher, the quality evaluation and duck bones powders as chalk, we have Mr. John Gerard Montejo.
Okay, good morning everyone. I just want to check if my audio was loud and clear.
Loud
Yes,
and
loud and
clear, Mr.
clear.
Montejo.
Thank you very much. So now allow me to present my screen. Is it ready na po ba? Ready na siya kuya. Okay na? Oh, wala. F5.
Okay, Mr. Montejo, you can now start with your presentation.
Okay, once again, good morning everyone to my fellow researchers, especially to the research panels and to all the SLSPIans and viewers who's here with us today. By the way, I am John Gerard and Monteo, and I am the researcher for the research entitled Quality Evaluation on Duck Bones Powder as Chalk. So for a statement of the problem, this research aims to evaluate the quality of duck bones powder as chalk. It will also answer the following questions. First, what is the quality of the duck bones chalk in terms of compactness, acid reaction, and water absorption? Second, on what surface is the duck bones powder chalk best be used? And lastly, is there any significant difference among the treatments in terms of compactness? So this topic focuses on the quality evaluation on duck bones powder as chalk. The study will be conducted at a researcher's house where the environment is cool, clean, and dry. It will begin on June 2021 until October 2021. The researcher chooses a study to investigate the quality of duck bones powder as chalk, determine which among the three different services it is best used, and identify if there is any significant difference among the treatments in terms of compactness. So now we have the research paradigm. So as what presented in the screen, we have the three treatments where treatment one is distribution of 50% duck bone powder and 50% all-purpose flour. Then treatment two is 75% powdered duck bone and 25% all-purpose flour. And finally, we have treatment three, we have 25% powdered duck bone and 75% all-purpose flour. We also have here the SOPs where we aims to evaluate the quality of the chalks, identify the best surface for use, and identify if there's any significant treatments difference among the treatments in terms of compactness. After that is the collection of data. We will interpret them, summarize, communicate the result, and conclude. Now let's proceed to the chapter 4, where this chapter presents, interprets, and analyzes the data gathered in the study. The tables show the definitions, results, and conclusions in each statement of the problem. So now let's proceed to table 1.1, where the quality evaluation of the chalks in terms of compactness is presented. This is done by conducting some drop tests. For the interpretation, treatments 1 and 2 produce the same mean score of 2, demonstrating that the chalks can fairly survive a fall and receive small or minor damages only, which does not result in it breaking in half or becoming powderized. This phenomena is due to the equitable behavior of the intermolecular forces present in the chalks, particularly the adhesive forces that triggers the forces acting between two substances, such as mechanical forces, which is responsible for the sticking together of the particles, and the electrostatic forces, which is the attraction due to the opposing charges. On the other hand, the chalks from treatment 3 yielded a mean score of 1, demonstrating that the fall heavily affected the compactness of the chalks, resulting in it breaking in half twice during the test. This also indicates that the intermolecular forces in the chalks are very weak, making the treatment exhibit the weakest compactness quality among the three. Proceeding to table 1.2, where the quality evaluation of the chalks in terms of acid reaction is presented. So this is done by conducting some acid tests. Treatments 2 and 3 both yielded a mean score of 3, indicating that the chalks from both treatments dissolve in a given period of time and perform an acidic reaction when submerged in hydrochloric acid. This is due to the behavior of the calcite minerals that are present in the chalks, especially the duck bones powder, which cause a calcite and dolomite effervescent reaction. Meanwhile, treatment 1 yields a mean score of 1, indicating that a 50-50 distribution of the duck bones powder and flour made it more difficult or slower for the hydrochloric acid to penetrate the chalks, resulting to a weaker calcite and dolomite effervescent reaction and dissolving only a very small amount of the chalks in a given period of time. Next is we have table 1.3, where the quality evaluation of the chalks in terms of water absorption is presented. This is done by conducting an insolubility test. For the interpretation, when the chalks are submerged in water, the temperature changes, causing the fractures between the particles to gradually open, with the water inhibiting their closure as the temperature is reduced. This leads the chalks of treatment 1 to yield a mean score of 1, indicating that the repulsive forces observed at intermediate practical distances cause the cohesion particles to decrease and weaken the chalks, which then dissolve within 30 seconds to 1 minute and exhibit the weakest insolubility quality. Treatment 2, on the other hand, yields a mean score of 3, indicating that the strength reduction of the chalks which was induced by the temperature cycle was more pronounced in treatment 1. However, this will cause the chalks to dissolve within 4 minutes and above and acquire the best insolubility quality among the three. Meanwhile, treatment 3 yielded a mean score of 2, indicating that the chalks have a good insolubility quality and dissolve within 2 to 3 minutes. Now let's proceed to table 2, where the writing test on the surfaces of chalkboard, concrete walls, and wood is stated. So when the mean scores of the treatments from different trials and surfaces were compared, both wooden and chalkboard surfaces yielded a total mean score of 13, indicating that 13 of the 70 letters written on the surfaces appeared visible, unbroken, and clear using the chalks from different treatments. Despite the fact that both surfaces are considered to be the least ideal among the three, the suggested treatment to be used for better writing quality is found on treatment 1 for wooden surfaces and treatment 3 for chalkboard surfaces. On the contrary, the surface of concrete walls produced a mean score of 15, indicating that 15 of the 70 letters within the surfaces appeared visible, unbroken, and clear using the chalks from different treatments. This indicates that the surface is considered to be the most ideal among the three, with treatment 3 being the most ideal, for it comes up with the best results among the three. Table 3 presents the ANOVA on determining any significant difference among the treatments in terms of compactness. So as we can see in the screen, we have the ANOVA computations. So the ANOVA computations above show that the p-value of 0.729 is greater than the alpha of 0.05. This indicates that the researcher accepts the null hypothesis HO, which states that there is no significant difference in all the treatments in determining the compactness of the chalks using the duck bones powder. According to Jewell and Thakur, the compactness of a chalk may vary depending on the intermolecular forces of attraction between the particles. A compact chalk is made up of particles that are close together and vibrate back and forth. When particle motion slows, the particles move closer together. This is because the attraction between them pulls them towards each other. Stronger intermolecular forces leads to stronger adhesive forces, which trigger mechanical forces that cause particles to stick together, as well as electrostatic forces, which is the attraction due to opposing charges. Now let's proceed to chapter 5, where this chapter presents the summary, conclusion, and recommendation of the overall research and the outcome of the study. So for the summary of compactness, table 1.1 presents a job test conducted in evaluating the chalk's compactness quality. Out of the three treatments, treatments 1 and 2 generated the strongest results, indicating that the chalks can fairly survive a fall from a 4 feet high distance and receive small or minor damages only, which does not result in it breaking in half or becoming powderized. Meanwhile, treatment 1 generated the weakest results and gets heavily affected by the fall, resulting for it to break in half twice during the test. For acid reaction, the findings of the acid test in table 1.2 shows that the chalks from treatments 2 and 3 gets completely dissolved within 10 minutes, perform a calcite dolomite effervescent reaction when submerged in hydrochloric acid, and exhibit the strongest results among the three treatments. On the other hand, Only a very small amount of the chalk from treatment 1 dissolved in a given period of time due to the slower penetration of the acid in the chalks, which results in a weaker calcite and dolomite effervescent reaction. Next is water absorption. The results of the insolubility test presented in table 1.3 illustrate that all of the chalks in treatment 1 were able to absorb, react, and dissolve in the water within 30 seconds to 1 minute, making it soluble and acquiring a very poor insolubility quality. Treatment 2, on the other hand, possesses more pronounced strength reduction when submerged in water, dissolves within 4 minutes and above, and exhibit the best insolubility quality among the three. Meanwhile, treatment 3 also possesses a good insolubility quality and dissolves within 2 to 3 minutes. Next is the summary for the writing test on the surfaces of chalkboard. Based on the writing test results shown in table 2.1, 13 of the 70 letters written on the surfaces appeared visible, unbroken, and clear using the chalks from different treatments. This is mainly due to the chalkboard's weak interface friction, which makes it the least ideal surface for use. Furthermore, it is recommended to use treatment 3 for improved writing quality of the particular surface. Next is concrete walls. The findings on the writing test in table 2.2 shows that 15 of the 17 letters written on the surface appeared visible, unbroken, and clear using the chalks from different treatments. The chalk's interface friction with the concrete wall is also very strong, making it the most suitable and ideal surface for use, with treatment 3 being the most ideal treatment among the others because it produces the best results. For the summary of the wooden surfaces, Table 2.3 presents the results of the writing test conducting and evaluating the chalk's writing quality, where it is determined that 13 of the 17 letters written on the surface appeared visible, unbroken, and clear using the chalks from different treatments. Despite its roughness, the tiny microscopic holes or crevices that allows liquids and air to pass through affects the chalk's interface friction, also making it exhibit the least suitable and ideal surface for use. Moreover, it is recommended to use treatment 1 for improved writing quality of the particular surface. So we also have here the summary for the significant differences among the treatments in terms of compactness. So the ANOVA computations show the significant difference among the treatments. Since the p-value is greater than the alpha, the researcher concluded that there is no significant difference in all the treatments in determining the compactness of the chalks using the Duckbones powder. Therefore, accepting the null hypothesis HO and rejecting the alternative H1. Moreover, job test results also revealed that treatment 1 and treatment 2 exhibit the best compactness quality among the treatments in using the Duckbones powder as chalk. Now let's proceed to the conclusion, where after conducting several tests and trials, the researcher had come up to the conclusion that among the three treatments 1 and 2 exhibit the best compactness quality. Both treatments have equitable intermolecular forces present in them, enabling the chalks to survive a fall and receive small or minor damages only. Even though treatment 1 produced the opposite results, the ANOVA computation still arrived at a p-value of 0.729, which is greater than the alpha of 0.05. This indicates that there is no significant difference among the treatments in terms of compactness, implying that the null hypothesis HO is accepted and the alternative hypothesis H1 is rejected. For the recommendations, after a thorough analysis of data, the following recommendations are hereby made by the researcher. First, properly stored and cooked bones will last for not longer than 3 to 4 days in the refrigerator. Freeze the bones to increase their shelf life and prevent mold growth. Freeze them in closed airtight containers or heavy-duty freezer bags, or wrap them tightly in heavy-duty aluminum foil or freezer wrap. Second, when cleaning the bones, use cut-resistant gloves to avoid being cut by the knife or the sharp edges of the bones. Third, sun-dry the bones for at least 1.5 to 2 days to get rid of any moisture that could affect the bone's quality. Fourth, in storing the grinded bones, use an airtight container to avoid microorganisms. And lastly, if possible, use or create a molder that absorbs moisture and better than paper. So I also include here some documentations to further emphasize the methodologies that are presented in my study. So as we can see in the screen, we have the process of steaming the bones, cleaning the bones, sun-drying the bones, grinding the bones, making the molders, making the paste, putting the paste inside the molder, sun-drying the chalks, and of course, we have our final product. I also include here some product testing for writing tests on surfaces of concrete walls, wood surfaces, and chalkboard surfaces. Apart from that, we also have the product testing for the water absorption, product testing for acid reaction, and drop tests. So now that concludes my study. Thank you very much for listening. Do you have any questions, clarifications, or recommendations? The researcher is now open to hear them and discuss it further.
Thank you very much, Mr. Montejo, for presenting your research. And now the researcher is now ready for your questions. Let's begin with Sir Jaime.
Good morning, Mr. Montejo.
Morning po, sir.
Um, I only have one question. What is the relevance of your chalk in today's online modality or blended modality?
I think that despite the pandemic, it is very evident that learning should never stop. And despite all the changes, despite we're not able to go into a face-to-face basis, we still need to learn. You know, some of us have blackboards in our homes. There's still many ways that we could use these chalks for educational purposes. And I think that its purpose is definitely more than just for educational purposes because it's also applicable for creativity purposes and for sure a lot more.
Thank you.
Thank you, Sir Raymond. Now let's have Ma'am Hani Badillas. Ma'am, your questions, please.
Morning, everyone.
Good morning po,
That
ma'am.
it's the same question with Sir Jaime. I would like to have a follow-up question, no? Considering that as teachers, no, parang sa point of view ng mga teachers today, I think it's very challenging. Hindi it's challenging. Parang I doubt it na I will still use the chalk because of the new platform we are using right now. So my question is, how you will convince us, that we still stick to use pa rin the chalk, Kasi parang may health hazard din kasi ang paggamit ng chalk, no?
Can you repeat
Even
the question,
with that
ma'am?
ng mga I want to ask, how will you convince us, sa point of view ng mga teachers as the main talaga niya na audience mo or the magiging consumer ng product mo, no? What if you will sell it na, sa ano lang, no, parang ano talaga siya, magiging usable na siya, in the future. So how you will convince us, to buy or parang to use your product despite na merong mga literatures na nagsasabi na may health hazard ito, or given na new platform na kasi, may mga apps na we are using tawag yan sa online, halimbawa. So justify lang, parang to convince us how we will patronize your product.
Thank you for the question, ma'am. The main purpose of my research is definitely to reduce bone wastage. So if you have pets in your home, it is best to use them. And about the move regarding to commercially available chalks using my product, I think that move is too idealistic. The scope and the limitations of my study was only limited on comparing, identifying the quality of the duck bones chalk, identifying its best treatments, um, identifying which surface it is best used, and of course, if there's any significant differences. So before we decided, I think we need to conduct more study, improve the recommendations presented, and work in its weaker areas before we could further decide. However, if you really wanted to use this product, it is very available because the resources are just available from your surroundings. You know, we have ducks, we have all-purpose flour from our home, and the process was just very easy. You just need to apply creativity and of course, put a lot of patience in it.
Kasi I'm just wondering, I will just have to have follow-up questions, Sir Jason. I'm just wondering kasi na parang in the urban, parang hindi naman masyado effective. I mean, using the ducts. So parang ganyan. Hindi siya visible eh. But in the farms, I think so. Yeah, this may be, available. So, para doon sa mga, practitioners, Say, teachers can have time to produce the product. But I think as a researcher, I'm glad that you have this kind of pag-conceptualize na halimbawa ng particular product that usable pala itong waste pa rin. You can utilize it. But given lang sa situation, sa modern time na kasi, parang the most challenging for you as the researcher is how you will convince the what if yun nga, yung parang gina-foresee natin. Kasi may potential yung research mo to be i-market talaga siya sa product. So parang this is the purpose of the practical research kasi. Parang meron din siyang direction going to production na talaga na ng material. But I think I appreciate na as well yung research mo. Okay? To add on din, sir, at saka kay John, I would like to suggest na just to also improve the technicalities of your paper, no? May need lang na part na I think na i-proofread siya, no? Parang hindi lang siguro na-edit yung, ano tawag, yung parang from future tense siya, you should change it into past tense, no? Check doon sa scope and delimitation mo na part. That was the part na nakita ko na parang hindi lang siya masyado. So thank you, Jan. And
Thank you po, ma'am. Thank you po, ma'am. Very well appreciated po.
Thank you, Ma'am Honey. Now let's proceed to our next panel. We have Ma'am Nara. Ma'am? Once again, Ma'am Nara, your questions, please.
Okay. I'm sorry. First of all, congratulations for getting this far. And of course, I appreciate your research so much. I just want to ask you lang na you can answer in kuan lang. If you could change something from your study, what would it be? Hello?
Hello, ma'am.
Yes
Copy
po,
po.
yes po. So, I'm sorry for the connection. My question is, Jean Gerard, if you could change something regarding your study, what would it be?
If I have given a chance to change something about my study, I think that would be to use a more specific instruments in testing the chalk's quality, because all of these products were really they were made hand by hand. You have the available resources. So since if I was given a chance, I would like to use for sure a molder that that was used, or standardized molder for chalks, because in the study I used I made a molder myself. So if given a chance, I would improve all the testing using available or commercialized level equipments.
Okay, congratulations.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, Ma'am Freline, for your question. Now let's proceed to Mr. Sandy M. Rivera. Sir?
Hello, good morning.
Good morning po, sir.
Narinig ba ako?
Yes po, sir. You're audible.
I'm having my integrated income. Okay. Yan. Good morning, panelists. Good morning, children. Good morning, students. Good morning, Sir Jason. Good morning, Sir Rusty. This study for me is halaga siya sa akin because today na wala nang gumagamit masyado ng chalk, but for me, I miss using chalk because of this pandemic. I miss using chalk, and I miss the classroom. And malaking bagay sa akin yung chalk kasi I was assigned at Tiboli. My first assignment was in Tiboli. So far-flung area siya. And then so wala kaming magamit doon na about ICT and all. So ang ginagamit talaga namin doon ay chalk. Tsaka MP4, Manila Paper 1, Manila Paper 2, 3, and 4. So yun siya. So napakalaking bagay sa akin itong chalk na ito. So thank you for this innovation and this research, John Gerald. So my question is, what advice would you give a student, co-student or learner who's starting a research and considering the methodology that you used? What advice would you give your co-learner?
I think that the advice that I could give to my co-learners is the importance of versatility. You know, you're in this journey of unknown, and regardless of all the life's adversity and challenges, you must always find ways to solve these problems. It's also important to take notes because regardless of how intelligent you are, taking notes will allow you to be more organized and in a way that it allows you to communicate with your curiosity as well as to access the scope of your imagination po, sir.
Okay, thank you so much. Yun lang.
Thank you po, sir.
Thank
Congratulations.
you. Thank you, Sir Sandy. And now, may I call on Ma'am Geraldine Hinalaw? Ma'am, your questions, please.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning po, ma'am.
Congratulations, John Gerard Montejo.
Thank you po.
You are so smart. Continue. My question is, how did you come up with your research?
I was really inspired by my father who working with companies that utilizes organic feeds. You know, it's just so very intuitive to see them use waste materials to something productive and very organic. And I was also inspired by the situation of our environment as an aspiring advocate for education and for environmental conservation. I really focused my study in a way that I could help learners as well as researchers to solve modern problems.
Okay. What would be the benefits of this research to our teachers and other possible users of the product that you had made?
I think that my main focus or my main market or like audience really is or for those who live in the urban areas. So a lot of people doesn't really have access to a lot of modernities, a lot of access to a lot of things because of the distance, because of the less advancement. And through this study, you know, the resources are really available in our surroundings. We have a lot of pets, we can gather a lot of bones, and it is very fun to make as long as you have your creativity. So it could really help those to use this, not just an alternative, but also a product to present to the whole community. Your mic is unmuted po, ma'am.
Ma'am Geraldine, excuse me po. Nakamute po kayo, ma'am.
Hello, sir. Hello.
Yes, ma'am.
Andiyan na po. Mr. John, are you willing to share this study to our learners in the public school? Because they will be inspired to do this also. Chalk is very important to our teachers in the public school. Still, we have a lot of teachers using the chalk. And I'm sure this product is very user-friendly na hindi magkakaasma yung ating mga teachers. So are you willing to share? Or can we emulate or can we imitate this research so that other learners can follow and can make their product also in their own area?
Well, first of all, that is a very overwhelming offer po, ma'am. Thank you very much. If I were given an opportunity to share it with others, of course, I will do. The main purpose of my study was definitely to have contribution to the society. And I believe the power of children to create something big for the future. And I am very willing to cooperate and work on the weaker areas of my study so that I could present a strong product that children now could use as well as the future.
Okay, thank you very much and congratulations.
Thank you po, ma'am.
Once again, thank you very much, Mr. John Gerard Montejo. A virtual applause, please. Now, we will now proceed to our next researcher, Ma'am Jessa.
Okay, thank
Thank
you.
you po.
Congratulations, Mr. John Gerard Montejo. For our second presenter, let me call on Mr. Ian Antiporta for our research entitled Mr. Ian Antiporta, you can start presenting your PowerPoint presentation with the research title Filter and Water Absorption Capacity of Piñas made from Ananas squamosous leaf fiber woven with cotton. So let us welcome Mr. Ian Antiporta.
Before I start, may I know po ba if I am loud and clear?
Yes, Mr. Antiporta, loud and clear.
Thank you, Ma'am Jessa. Nani nakashare, sir? Eh, As I begin, the sun has risen and the birds are chirping. Then it's only timely for me to greet you a good morning to our panels and of course to our audience watching via live on Facebook and YouTube in the comfort of their abode. I am your researcher. My name is Ian G. Lordin Antiporta, a grade 12 STEM student or Science, Technology, Engineering, and Mathematics or STEM strand with a research entitled Filter and Water Absorption Capacity of Piñas made from Ananas squamosous leaf fiber woven with cotton. Pineapple fields yield copious amount of leaves that are left to decay and decompose. As we are amidst a pandemic, face masks are being used as a key measure to suppress virus transmission and save lives. This research study seeks to determine the capability of piñas to be used as a reusable face mask. Specifically, it aims to answer the following problems. First, air filtration. What is the efficiency of the face mask filtration system based on a breath test? By putting the mask on and having a lit candle at the end of each distances and giving it a good blow. Second, absorbency rate. What is the absorbency rate of piñas, Ananas squamosous fiber face mask? By having the ratio of the weight of water absorbed by the material in saturated state over the weight of the dried state. And lastly, comfortability, where we gathered 25% of the grade 12 STEM student of SLSPI, where they were randomly picked and chose to participate. Let's proceed. Scope and delimitation. The research only focused on the study of the utilization of pineapple leaves, or pulp, available in our locality, Holomolok, weaved with cotton fabric to make reusable face masks. Two treatments were made, bastos in cotton and liniwan in cotton. Note that bastos and liniwan are two types of fiber that we can extract from the leaves of a pineapple. There were 3 tests conducted to know which treatment is the most suitable reusable face mask. Read test, water absorbing capacity test, and comfort level survey where we test its functionality, feel, fit, style. The study covered 5 months in duration. It discovered fiber extraction, weaving, and testing. The preparation experimentations for air filtration and absorbency rate data were done at the researcher's house at Porok Manlawan Poblacion. The weaving of the fabrics was done at Amguo, Barangay Landan, Polomolok, South Cotabato. Here we have the research paradigm of the research study. We have the pineapple leaves where we gathered, sorted, scraped, washed, hanged, brushed, detangled, knotted, weaved, measured, cut, and sewn. Now we have the treatments. Treatment O or treatment 0 is an existing commercially available reusable face mask. Treatment 1 is the bastos and cotton combination. Treatment 2 is the liniwan and cotton combination. Now we have the piñas ready for testing. For testing, we have air filtration, where we conducted the breathe test, absorbency rate, where we conducted the water absorbing capacity test, and lastly, the comfortability, where we conducted a comfort level survey. Afterwards, we had the data gathering, interpretation of data, data analysis, and lastly, conclusion. Chapter 4. This chapter contains the presentation and discussion of data and the results of the study. The results and findings are interpreted based on the mean scores of the data presented that are arranged and related to the statement of the problem of the study. First, we have the air filtration, the efficiency of the face mask filtration system based on the breed test. The data shown above is the data gathered from conducting the breed test, a test to know the air filtration system of a face mask by blowing a candle and observing whether it is extinguished or not. All treatments passed the test, proving that the Pinyask's filtration system to be effective. Next, the absorbency rate. The absorbency rate of Pinyask. Table 2A is the uncalculated data in solving for the absorbency rate of ananas squamosous fiber and cotton face mask. Using the formula M2 minus M1 over M1 times 100%, where M1 is the mass of material in an absolute dry state, or G, and M2 is the mass of material saturated with water. In the first test conducted, treatment 0 weighed 17 grams, treatment 1 weighed 20 grams, and treatment 2 weighed 19 grams in an absolute dry state, and 68 grams, 59 grams, 60 grams when saturated with water respectively. In the second test, treatment 0 weighed 22 grams in absolute state and 65 when saturated with water. Treatment 1 weighed 21 grams and then 55 grams when saturated with water. Lastly, treatment 2 had an initial weight of 20 grams and 56 grams when saturated with water. Adding both tests and dividing them by 2 to get the mean score, treatment 0 was known to be 2.48% absorbent, treatment 1 to be 1.79 absorbent, and treatment 2 to be 1.95% absorbent. Now we have the ANOVA results. Table 3 shows the average result of the absorbency test of each treatment and its test repetition. The ANOVA results. In the ANOVA test, even though there are differences in the scores, this would still determine if there is a significant difference or not. The p-value is 0.43018468, which is beyond greater than the alpha of 0.05. Therefore, we accept the null hypothesis and reject the alternative. To conclude, there is no significant difference in the water absorption capacity of the Pinyask's and the commercially available face mask. Next, we have the comfortability. Does wearing Pinyask compromise the user's comfort level? First, we have treatment 1, the Bastos-Cotton combination. The figure above shows the results of the survey conducted to know the comfortability level of Pinyask treatment 1, Bastos-Cotton combination. According to 18 out of 23 respondents, treatment 1 did not hinder their breathing. 19 people said that the face mask does not feel itchy when worn. 12 respondents answered quite, 4 very, and 5 extremely when asked the question, does it fit snugly against the side of your face? 19 respondents said that the face mask treatment 1 extremely covered their nose and mouth. 14 respondents found the face mask to be comfortable when worn, and 16 people said that they extremely liked the style of the face mask. Now let's proceed to the treatment 2, the Liniwan and cotton combination. The figure shown above indicates the following interpretation. 18 respondents said that the face mask somewhat hinders the breathing. 17 people said the face mask somewhat felt itchy when worn. 13 people answered quite when asked the question, does it fit snugly against the side of your face? 11 people said that the face mask covered their nose and mouth quietly. 5 very, and 5 extremely. 12 people found the face mask quite comfortable when worn, and 6 extremely. When it came to the last question, the data was almost divided into parts, but most of the respondents somewhat liked the style of the face mask. Now we have the last chapter. This chapter consists of the summary, conclusion, and recommendation of the researcher for the overall outcome of the study. First, we have the air filtration. The face mask has 3 layers, plus a pocket for filters for additional protection. It is thick but breathable. The researcher went to an open space and tested the face mask filtration system by conducting a breathe test, whereas there was a lit candle at the end of each distance, 0.6 meters, 0.5 meters, 0.4, and 0.3 meters. The air filtration system of the face mask made from ananoscumosus leaf fiber woven with cotton or piñas was proven to be effective based on the test conducted, which is the breathe test. Next, the absorbency rate. The testing showed that the commercially available face mask has an absorbency rate of 2.47%. Treatment 1 has a 1.79% absorbency rate, and treatment 2 with a 1.98% absorbency rate. The testing was done twice to have a more accurate result. Based on the data gathered from the water absorbing capacity test, it was discovered that the piñas is not that absorbent, making it a much more capable to be used as a reusable face mask, since fabrics to be used in cloth mask making should not be absorbent, according to World Health Organization. Now the ANOVA results. The results garnered from the ANOVA result show that the water absorbency rate of piñas was found to have no significant difference in all treatments. Furthermore, in the ANOVA test, even though there are differences in the scores, this would still determine if there is a significant difference or not. Through this test, the researcher will know if there is a significant difference in all treatments. Treatment 0 commercially available face mask, treatment 1 Bastos cotton combination, and treatment 2 Linny 1 cotton combination. In this case, the researcher used the ANOVA test, and this would determine if the differences between them are either significant or not. The p-value is 0.43, which is greater than the alpha of 0.05. Therefore, we accept the null hypothesis and reject the alternative. To conclude, there is no significant difference in the water absorption capacity of piña fabric as a face mask. Now let's proceed to the comfortability of the face mask. The comfortability survey showed what treatment was the most suitable as reusable face mask. Treatment 1 showed promising result as it is the treatment with the most positive feedback from the 22 respondents who answered the survey. Treatment 1 was found to not hinder the 18 respondents' breathing, does not feel itchy when worn, and to 19 people. 12 respondents said that it quietly fit snugly against the side of their faces. 18 people found the face mask to extremely cover their nose and mouth. 19 people said that it was comfortable to wear. And lastly, 19 respondents liked the style of the face mask. The survey did not have even a single unanimous answer among all statements asked, which is a good thing, knowing that the face mask still has room for better improvements. Even though there have been problems encountered in weaving and sewing of the face mask, it still pulled through and is, of course, good to use. Even though the face mask present is a prototype of a better product, it is still an excellent face mask and, of course, a functional one. In conclusion, based on all the tests conducted, including the breathe test, water absorbing capacity test, all treatments have the capability to be used as a reusable face mask. But treatment 1, Bastos cotton, had the most promising result on the breathe test, water absorbing capacity test, and comfort level survey where we tested its functionality, feel, fit, and style all combined. To add, there has been no significant difference in the face mask absorbency rate. Both treatments were at the same, if not better level than the commercially available reusable face mask. This research shows that our variety of pineapple, cayenne pineapple, can open doors of endless possibilities in the textile industry. It was proven that the fibers extracted from the pineapples were good enough to be weaved and made into fabric. Commonly, only the liniwan fiber is used in fabric making. Once again, proving this research to have answered the question, what if we use the always discarded fiber in making piña fabric? Now the research recommendation. The researcher has 3 recommendations. First, snake plant fiber and banana stem fiber. Both fibers are also known to be durable and have the characteristics to be used as a thread in fabric making. Second, linen, cotton, and silk Further exploration on the combination of pineapple leaf fibers and other natural fibers are recommended to see which combination fits to the pineapple leaf fibers best. Next, the absorbency rate. The researcher of this study suggests that the future researcher should look for a testing to know the water absorbency rate of the fabric, such as immersion test, drop test, spot test, column test, or wicking test, and so on. Whatever is convenient for the future researcher, as long as it gives accurate results. Thank you very much. And now the researcher is ready to answer inquiry, clarifications, questions, valid reactions, and recommendations for the betterment of the research.
Thank you very much, Mr. Antiporta. I believe that Mr. Antiporta is now ready to answer the questions from our panelists. Let's start with Ma'am Hani Badillas.
Ano mabasa?
Hello, Ayan.
Hello po, ma'am.
I would like to congratulate as well of your brilliant pag-conceptualize ng inyong research. Given
Thank you,
that
ma'am.
you also included may opportunity na na-involve yung mga indigenous peoples, the Blahan.
Yes po, ma'am.
in Tulob.
Amguulan din po.
Yeah. So I really appreciate with that, given they have the advantage. I know na they can, a part of the product kasi na ginawa ay may expression ng ethnic identity ng community. So with that, I would like to ask, okay, what, why come up with this kind of practical research, and what do you think the most challenging na the most challenging part in your in the process ng paggandak mo ng research that you encountered?
Well, ma'am, ever since I was a kid, I was already exposed to pineapple plantation as we have a farm located at the middle of a pineapple plantation. As a kid, I was astonished about the sword-like texture of the pineapple leaves. As I grow older, I was more curious about the thread-like fibers that the pineapple leaves have. Now that I am a senior high student, I was given an opportunity to conduct a study, and I didn't have a second thought and proceeded to having the study. Upon further researching for the study and gathering information, this is where the challenging part comes in, because the piña fabric has been, or the piña fabric has been long available in the public in the Philippines, especially here in the Philippines in Aklan. But the variety of pineapple that they've been using is what we call a Spanish red pineapple. But here in Polomolok, we have a Cayenne pineapple po, which is different from the commonly used variety in piña making fabric. But the Spanish red pineapple, it still has two types of fiber, the bastos and liniwan. But they use the liniwan because it is much more durable. In a Cayenne pineapple, it is the opposite, because the liniwan fiber of a Cayenne pineapple is fragile and is easy to break. But the bastos is the much more suitable. So having that opportunity, ma'am, I really did not hesitate in conducting this study, because aside from giving an opportunity to highlight the culture and creativity of the Blaan people in Amgoo, I also am happy to have answered the question and my curiosity about having the fiber of the pineapple to be weaved into fabric po.
Congrats, Ayan, again.
Thank you po, ma'am.
Thank you, Ma'am Hani. Now let's proceed to the questions coming from Mr. Jaime.
Good morning.
Good morning, sir.
Okay, my question is, who did the weaving of the mask? Were you present also?
Yes po, sir. I actually have a photo here of Ate Annalisa.
Okay.
If you'd allow me to present po, sir. Wait lang po.
Okay. So while presenting your photos, is this a pure uh, pineapple fiber?
No, sir. Actually, sir, this is one of the problems encountered while conducting the research. Here
Okay.
is Ate Annalisa Malogon, the one on the left, who weave the
Okay.
fabric together with their head in Amgoo. The thing here, sir, is that we had a miscommunication because what I've instructed, I wanted the fibers to be latted closely or compact in the fabric to easily distinguish where the fibers of the pineapple is. This is where the white thread comes in. That is the fiber of the pineapple. But that thing is, I think they forgot to have the instructions in mind so that they have it patterned. So what you see here is the white one is the fiber of the um, fiber that we extracted from the pineapple leaves. So in here, we can see the pattern of the malong, as they say in Blaan, the malong fabric po. It is mixed with the pineapple fiber, both bastos and liniwan po, sir.
Okay, thank you. No questions asked.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Sir RJ. Now let's have Ma'am Nara.
Okay, congratulations, Ian Jade,
Thank you po, ma'am.
for
Thank you,
getting this
ma'am Nara.
far. My question is, in what way does your research project contributes to knowledge, or briefly state how this project will advance understanding in the research field?
Well, this research, ma'am, will help future researchers with their research as a source of information if they pursue a related study. It is also a way to encourage the student to maximize the resources that we have right in front of our doorsteps and to explore and widen their knowledge about the use of pineapple leaves, which is not that talked about that much. Knowing we have a vast pineapple plantation, adding up all those resources will undoubtedly make this research beneficial, not for me, not just for me as a researcher, but also for the future researcher, for the school, for the people of Palomloc, South Cotabato, especially during these trying times where people lost their jobs and have no stable source of income. The research study is also timely and relevant as we are amidst a pandemic. The use of reusable face masks will mitigate the problem of single-use face masks.
Okay, so may I add, what should be the most or ang pinaka research gap sa inyong study nga gusto ninyo i-address, hence your research?
I think, ma'am, it would be the lack of resources. Since we are in a midst of a pandemic, we have a limited of resources and time, and of course the money that we need to conduct a research. Of course, we need to have a camaraderie. So I think that's the most important thing to address in conducting a research online, especially that we are conducting our classes online. So we need a moral support and having that face-to-face no and sorry and having that camaraderie and help that you know that you can ask for help for your classmates or your friends. Of course, it is beneficial and of course important as a researcher po.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Nara.
Thank you, Ma'am Nara. Now let's have Mr. Sandy Rivera, sir.
Again, good morning, everyone. So I would like to
Good morning,
commend
Mr.
Ian
Sandy.
Jade. Yes, I would like to commend you for your very timely research.
Thank
My
you, sir.
question is, doing this research, you encountered a lot of problems, right?
Yes, po, sir.
Gaps and the like. So my question is, how has your thinking changed as a result of your research?
Of course, sir, it was important for me to reflect on the mistakes and of course to learn from the experiences that I had. Actually, I've through this, I've experience of, or I have further reflected on being practical, because researchers should think smart and not irrationally or unrealistically. They should think of something innovative and something they're capable of doing to avoid repentance. And of course, sir, through this, I've experienced, or I have learned to be conscious and cautious with time, plan and write the dates of our research, and to not lose track of time, and always to be aware and be ready for any possible problems that we may encounter during the conduct. Of course, everything is a learning experience, according to Miss Laika of Team Laika. Everything is a learning experience. We learn, we grow, and we live to learn, and we learn to live.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you,
Congrats.
sir.
Thank you,
Thank you, sir.
Sir Sandy. And now let's have Ma'am Geraldine Hinalao. Ma'am, your questions, please.
Hello, Mr. Ayan.
Hello po,
Congratulations
ma'am. Thank you, Ma'am
for
Geraldine.
being innovative. And I'm sure your research will help our Blaan brothers and sisters in Amgoo if this will be materialized in the future. This would be an opportunity for them to have a job, that they can have an income, livelihood income. Congratulations.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
While conducting your research, sandali lang ha. While conducting your research, what were the challenges that you had met, and how did you solve those challenges?
Of course, ma'am, as a online student, it was hard for me to connect with other students, and of course, I needed the moral support. Not because it is far more difficult and different from the normal face-to-face classes. As a student, having their faces in front of screens, I much rely on my friends and families who really gave me the push to continue this research, because honestly speaking po, I was really near at the edge. I was really near at not continuing this research and having another research. So having those friends and family to support you all the way was very important and was crucial in making this research for me po.
Okay. What in your own analysis, what would be the benefit of this research to our community and even to your family?
For the community, ma'am, this study actually aims to make a reusable face mask from Ananas Comostos leaf fiber, specifically here in Palomalok,
Okay.
where we
Okay.
are known to have a vast pineapple plantation. Aside from that po, the province of South Cotabato is known to be the land of the dream weavers. With this, we can maximize and highlight the craftsmanship, art, talent, and culture of the people in our province, South Cotabato. And adding up all those resources po, again, and through this research, we can open doors of endless possibilities for our variety of pineapple and also for our people in Amgoo Landan po.
Okay, congratulations, a dream weaver.
Thank you,
Ayan,
Ms. Geraldine.
Antiporta.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, panelists. And thank you once again, Mr. Ayan Antiporta. Now let's proceed to our next researcher.
Thank you, Sir Jason.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Antiporta. Thank you, Sir Jason, and thank you to our panelists. For our third presenter for this morning, we have our ABM student, Miss Claire Habla, for her research entitled Impact of COVID-19 on the Income of Palomalok Tricycle Drivers as Basis for Livelihood Program. Miss Claire?
Yes, ma'am. Please wait for a moment. I will prepare the presentation. Is it already visible, ma'am?
Not yet. Let's just wait for it to load. Let's just wait for a few minutes or for a while for the presentation of Miss Habla to load.
Okay. Okay, so let me proceed. Am I audible?
Loud and clear.
So lively, so proud, inspiring. In short, SLSPI. With that, I would like to greet our beloved viewers, educators, and my fellow researchers, and of course, our highly renowned panel, a good morning. Before I proceed, let me introduce myself. I am Claire Marie Ohabla, a grade 12 accountancy, business, and management student, and I am the researcher of the study entitled Impact of COVID-19 Pandemic on the Income of Palomloc Tricycle Drivers, a Basis for Livelihood proposal. To officially start my study, let me proceed. So here are the statements of the problem. This study aimed to determine the overall impact of the COVID-19 pandemic on the income of Palomloc tricycle drivers, which will lead to a basis for a livelihood proposal. Specifically, this intended to answer the following questions. First is what is the socio-demographic profile of the respondents in terms of age, number of years as a tricycle driver, ownership of unit, organization membership, and income. Next is what are the tricycle drivers' strategies in maintaining regular income. Third, what are the other sources of income of the tricycle drivers? And lastly, what are the possible livelihood proposals to help the tricycle drivers? Moving on, here is the scope and delimitation of the study. This study focused on determining the impact of the COVID-19 pandemic on the income of tricycle drivers in the municipality of Palomaloc, province of South Cotabato. Specifically, those who belong to organizations or associations plying within Poblacion, Poblacion to Cannery Site, Poblacion to Coronadal Proper, Poblacion to Silway Otso, and Poblacion to Sulit. There was a total of 30 respondents who were composed of drivers aging 18 and above, which are considered to be legally permitted to drive and go out during the pandemic. They should at least be residing in Palomaloc since the start of the COVID-19 pandemic, drive only in Palomaloc, and had their franchise renewed in 2020. And lastly is to have driving a tricycle as their main source of income. So here is the conceptual framework, which is based on the IPO, input, process, and the output. In the input section are the 4 SOPs, the socio-demographic profile of the respondents, tricycle driver strategies in maintaining regular income, other sources of income of the tricycle drivers, and the possible livelihood proposals to help the tricycle drivers. And under the process was the construction and validation of research instrument, face-to-face interview, and the distribution of research instrument to the respondents. Next is the tabulation and encoding of results. And lastly was the presentation, interpretation, and analysis of gathered data. And of course, the intended output of this research is a basis for a livelihood proposal. Moving on to the chapter 4, which is the presentation, interpretation, and analysis of data. So this chapter presented the interpretation and analysis of the research data collected from interviewing the respondents in person, the findings regarding the impact of COVID-19 pandemic on the income of Palomaloc tricycle drivers were also discussed in the succeeding charts and tables. So I'm asking all of you to please bear with me since I would be presenting dozens of charts and tables due to the length of my questionnaire. So first is the statement of the problem number 1, which is the socio-demographic profile. So this category presented the relevant information regarding the respondents, which is necessary in determining whether the involved individuals in the study serve as a representative sample of the target population for generalization purposes. So as you can see in the screen, chart 1 talks about the age of the respondents. Chart 1 shows that 10 of the tricycle drivers are already aged 50 and above, 9 are within 40 to 49, 7 are within 30 to 39 years old, and 4 are 18 to 29 years old. This indicated that the majority of the respondents are aged 50 and above who are already approaching seniority, which meant they had a higher risk of getting infected with COVID-19 and experienced worse symptoms than the younger generation. Generally, this agreed with Mayo Clinic's statement that entitled, as a person's age increases, the risk of developing dangerous symptoms also increases. And the people at the highest risk of serious symptoms are those ages 85 and older. Chart number 2 talks about the number of years as a tricycle driver of the respondents. It shows that 15 of the respondents have been a tricycle driver for 10 years and more, 11 of them for 6 years, 2 of the respondents for 7 to 9 years, and also 2 respondents have been driving for 1 to 3 years only. The interpretation indicated that half of the respondents have been driving for exactly or more than 10 years and are still driving in the present day. And generally, this supported studies of C that said that the health emergency not only exposed the transport system's high adaptability, but also its vulnerability. Perhaps the most visible instant effect is on the thousands of drivers who depend on daily wages as one of their means to support their families and to survive. Next is the table 1, which is about the ownership of their unit. Table 1 showed that 21 of the respondents own their tricycle unit, 8 of them only rent their unit, and 1 of them rents their unit for a significant period of time and will be able to own it after the agreed months of or years of renting, or in short, it was a rent-to-own tricycle. In terms of the rental fee, out of the 9 respondents who rent, 1 of them pay a daily rental fee of 120 pesos, 6 are paying 150 daily, 1 respondent pays 140 pesos daily, and the remaining 1 respondent pays a daily rental fee worth 200 pesos. Generally, the interpretation indicated that majority of the respondents have their own units, and only 9 of them are renting the tricycle that they use, which does not agree with the goal of DBP, DOTR, and LTFRB that they will provide government subsidies to public utility vehicle or PUVs to supply for the income gaps during the imposition of the temporary ban on PUVs as a protocol of the community lockdowns. Table 2 is about the organization membership. It presents that all of the respondents, which are 30 of them, are a member of a specific tricycle drivers organization or association in Palomoloc. In terms of the respective TODAs, or Tricycle Operators and Drivers Association, there are 5 respondents each for the following TODAs: the Friendly Mart TODA, the Hoplan TODA, which consists of the Howard Hubbard Hospital and the Lantana Subdivision, the Corp TODA, which is Coronadal Proper TODA, the Masil TODA, which is Magsaysay and Silway Otso and Chete TODA, and the Pakikisama TODA, which consists of all the routes here in Canary, and Sul TODA, which is the Sulit TODA. It indicated that all of the 30 respondents are part of an association, which means they are able to practice solidarity and benefit from various government programs and projects. Generally, this agreed with the Memorandum Order Number 116, Section 2003, that states by converting tricycle operations into transport service cooperatives, it will help in uplifting the socio-economic condition of the workers in the transport industry, particularly of the tricycle drivers. The next table is in regards to the income of the drivers before and during the pandemic. So it shows that 16 respondents gained more than 500 pesos of income before the pandemic. 6 of them earn around 401 to 500 pesos. 5 of them earn around 301 to 400 pesos. 2 earn around 201 to 300 pesos, and only 1 of them earn a daily income of 100 to 200 pesos. But their average daily income during the pandemic became 11 respondents earn a daily income of 301 to 400 pesos. 8 of them earn around 201 to 300 pesos. 5 of them gain around 401 to 500 pesos. 4 of them earn around 100 to 200 pesos, and the other 2 earn more than 500 pesos. The interpretation indicated that the majority of the respondents used to make a profit of more than 500 daily before the pandemic, but it has significantly decreased during the pandemic to around 301 to 400 pesos only. And generally, this agreed with the statement that the health crisis has severely affected tricycle drivers that resulted in a lower daily basis of income. Proceeding to chart number 3, which talks about the route of the tricycle drivers. So it stated that 10 of the tricycle drivers assigned routes are within Poblacion to Canary site, and the rest within Poblacion, Poblacion to Sulit, Poblacion to Silway Otso, and Poblacion to Coronadal proper only have 5 respondents each. The interpretation indicated that the respondents already had their assigned routes to follow, which means they are not allowed to cross other TODES boundaries. Generally, it agreed with the statement, those who are in a slump find it difficult to survive in the new circumstances. Moreover, the transport sector took a downfall and has been gravely inflicted due to the temporary closing of all companies, and because of the restrictions in people's ability to freely roam around. And chart number 4 talks about the gender of the tricycle drivers. It states that 30% of the interviewed respondents are biologically identified as male. It indicated that men are more at risk of getting infected. And generally, this can be connected to the study that stated out of every 10 adults, about 7 of them roughly say that it is really important for a man to have the means to support his family financially to be considered as a good husband or partner. Proceeding to chart 5, which talks about the status of the tricycle drivers, it shows that 24 of the respondents are already married, 4 are single, and 2 of them have live-in partners but are still considered as single. The data indicated that the majority of the 30 male respondents already have a partner or family to support. Generally, this was connected to the statement, due to the COVID-19 pandemic, hundreds and millions of people in the world have experienced its devastating toll, but it is their children and families who are being hit the hardest by the economic crisis. Chart 6 is about the residence area of the respondents. It showcased that both Canary Site and Poblacion have 6 respondents each who answered that they live within those areas. There are also 5 individuals each who live within Silway Otso, Sulit, and Coronadal proper, and 1 of the respondents each for Quinilis and Upper Clinan. The data indicated that most of the respondents also live within their designated routes, which agreed with the Assistant Secretary of the OTR, Mark Stephen Pastor, who shared his confidence in the ability of PUV service contracting to bring the transport sector to life once again. Proceeding to chart 7 that talks about the length of residing in Palomaloc of the tricycle drivers. It showcases that there are 25 respondents who have been residing in Palomaloc for over or exactly 10 years, 4 of them for around 4 to 6 years only, and 1 respondent answered 7 to 9 years. It indicated that majority of the respondents have been living within Palomaloc for over or exactly 10 years, which could either mean old age inhibits them from moving, they do not have the resources to move, or they stay because of relationships. Generally, the interpretation agreed with the study that states people recognize human factors as the most important in deciding where they want to live and work at the same time. They consider life satisfaction as 2 times more important than anything else. It is their top consideration, followed by safety and security, then proximity to family and their friends, and lastly would be the pay and bonuses that they will receive. And chart number 8 is about the number of dependents of the respondents. It showed that 17 answered that around 1 to 3 people depend on them, 10 have 4 to 6 people depending on them, and 2 have 7 to 9 people depending on them, and 1 replied that over or exactly 10 people depend on him. It indicated that all of the respondents have a family to support, no matter how small or big their dependence is. Generally, this connected with the statement, even just a single rough patch has the power to throw families off their feet, which will impact their capability to pay the rent and other bills, buy groceries, having access to essential healthcare services, or be able to survive through the health crisis. And chart number 9 is in regards to their last franchise renewal. Chart 9 showed that 27 of the respondents have renewed their franchise within 1 to 11 months ago since conducting this research, and the remaining 3 of them had their last franchise renewal around 1 to 2 years ago. It indicated that majority of the respondents are responsible drivers since they comply with the allotted time given to renew their franchise. And generally, the interpretation was supported with the Republic Act number 10930, section 23, section 23A that states the LTO shall promulgate prerequisites and guidelines before the grant of driver's licenses to ensure that these are issued only to deserving applicants with sufficient driving skills and knowledge on road safety and proper road courtesy. Okay, proceeding to SOP number 2, which is about the tricycle driver's strategies in maintaining regular income. This category presented the various strategies applied by the tricycle drivers in order to maintain a regular income during the time of the pandemic. Chart 10 shows the increase in passenger fare. It showed that 27 of the respondents answered that they think there should be an increase in passenger fare, and the remaining 3 of them said no. The data indicated that almost all of the respondents believe that the current passenger fare should be increased, and this agreed with the sentiment of Mayor Vico Soto, who showed support for Pasig City tricycle drivers' desire to hike prices due to the enforcement of enhanced community quarantine. Since tricycle drivers can only have a maximum of 3 passengers, the mayor was in favor of applying a fare increase for the tricycle drivers to not have a low profit amid the social distancing. Proceeding to chapter 11, which talks about the additional passenger fare. It shows that out of the 14 respondents who answered that they do not ask for an additional fare from the passengers, while 3 of them said yes. And in line with the respondents who answered yes, 5 of them said yes, but it depends on the location, and 8 also said yes, but it depends on the passenger's discretion of how much more they will give. It indicated that most of the respondents charged an additional fare from the passengers, which could result in negative sanctions. And generally, the interpretation was supported by the rules of Quezon City that states the tricycle drivers and operators who ask the passenger for more than the official fare rate may be faced with a fine worth 5,000 or 6 months of imprisonment. Proceeding to chart 12, which is in line with the strategies in maintaining regular income, it showed that 23 respondents said that their strategy in maintaining regular income is to take their rounds, or as we call it colloquially, turno, and be a striker while it is not their turn yet. There are also 2 respondents each who said combination and farm income, and one said to just drive every single day, and 1 respondent each answered that their strategy is just relying on the extra money from their farm income, Pacquiao, and to just starting driving early. The data indicated that the respondents favor majorly on the combination strategy, and this agreed with the study of Magahi on Lagos State, Nigeria, that states, as a result of the people's restrictions and movement, their lives and livelihoods have been affected. And to cope up, they thought of ways on how to evade the limitations. Next is a table 4, and it talks about taking in passengers that live in secluded areas before and during the pandemic. So in terms of taking in passengers that live in secluded areas before the pandemic, 24 respondents said that they do take in those passengers. 5 of them also said yes, but not always, and only 1 of them said no. And in terms of taking passengers that live in secluded areas during the pandemic, 10 of the respondents answered yes, 7 said yes, but not always, and 13 answered no. It indicated that due to the pandemic, the number of respondents who take in passengers that live in secluded areas have significantly diminished, which in turn will give passengers a harder time in finding a driver who will assist them. And generally, the interpretation agrees with the statement: the imposition of the lockdown to contain the spread of COVID-19 led to inflicting these people with the most severe damage. Proceeding to Table 5, which is the time preference in driving before and during the pandemic. In terms of time preference in driving before the pandemic, 15 of the respondents preferred driving during the morning until nighttime. 8 of them prefer every morning until the afternoon, and 5 answered dawn until nighttime as their preference, and only 1 responded each for dawn until afternoon and dawn until noon. In terms of time preference in driving during the pandemic, 16 answered that they preferred to drive during the morning and up until nighttime, and 14 said they prefer to start during the morning and end until the afternoon. The data indicated that there is no drastic change with the time preference of the respondents when it comes to driving. And generally, the interpretation contradicted the study of Bird, Criticus, and Nick that states the COVID-19 pandemic took a heavy toll on public transport, which means ridership will be cut back drastically, and the operators in developing countries will be forced to withstand difficult questions for the sake of their viability in the future. Proceeding to table number 6, which discusses the number of hours in driving before and during the pandemic. It indicated that in terms of the number of hours in driving before the pandemic, 28 of the respondents drive for more than or exactly 10 hours, and the remaining 2 of them drive for around 7 to 9 hours only. And in terms of number of hours in driving during the pandemic, 17 of the respondents drive for more than or exactly 10 hours, 11 of them drive for about 7 to 9 hours, and 2 of them drive for only 4 to 6 hours daily. The data indicated that there has been a significant decrease in the number of hours the respondents drive in a single day during the pandemic. And generally, this agreed with the new AAA study that states during the pandemic, more people started driving much less frequently, wanting to just stay at home instead. Proceeding to SOP number 3, that discusses other sources of income of the tricycle drivers. This category presented the other jobs and ways of the tricycle drivers in order to gain an additional source of income in the time of the COVID-19 pandemic. Let's proceed to table number 7, which shows the other sources of income from driving a tricycle. It showed that 19 respondents do not have any other source of income, and 11 of them have another way of earning aside from driving a tricycle. So in line with the respondents that answered yes, 6 of them have a job related to farming, and one respondent each of the remaining jobs, which is to be a construction worker, electrician, lending, painter, and a tire driver. The data indicated that only few of the respondents have another source of income to rely on during the pandemic. And generally, the interpretation goes against what the Department of Labor and Employment said, that informal workers have nothing to worry about, including taho sellers, sidewalk vendors, pedicabs, tricycles, and jeepney drivers. They will be provided with a job that will be good for 10 to 20 days and will be giving them the minimum wage. Proceeding to table number 8, which discusses if the respondents tried being a delivery rider or courier. It showed that 24 of the respondents have not tried being a delivery rider or acting as a courier before or during the pandemic. 3 of them have tried before being one before and during. 2 also have tried during the pandemic, and 1 of them have tried before the pandemic. The 6 of the respondents that answered yes said that they tried being a delivery rider or courier in order to have an additional income. And in terms of the respondents that answered no, 19 said that there was no opportunity given to them 3 said being a delivery rider or courier does not give much additional income, and 1 responded each that said he is still planning to, while the other one does not have an extra time to do so. The data indicated that most of the respondents were not given an opportunity to become a delivery rider or act as a courier. And generally, it does not align with the statement, one of the most common government interventions during the pandemic is giving tricycle drivers an opportunity to become a delivery rider. It serves as one of the city's socio-economic interventions amid the coronavirus disease 2019. Proceeding to table number 9, that talks about if those respondents earn more as a tricycle driver or not. It showed that in the 11 respondents who have another source of income, 7 of them answered that they earn more in being a tricycle driver, 3 of them said that they earn more in the other job, and 1 respondent wanted to keep his earning private. In terms of the respondent that answered yes or they earned more in being a tricycle driver, 3 of them earned 500 pesos more daily, 2 of them earned 400 pesos more daily, and 1 responded each for 250 pesos more and 150 pesos more daily. And in terms of the respondent that answered no or they earned more in the other job, 1 responded each for 1,000 more daily, 700 pesos more daily, and 600 pesos more daily, while the remaining 1 respondent decided to keep his earning private. The data indicated that despite having another job or source of income, the tricycle drivers still earn more by driving, and they even have another job to earn from. And generally, in terms of tricycle drivers, the interpretation contradicted the statement, many Filipinos are unemployed, unaware of where to get cash to spend on everyday needs. And table number 10 discusses if these respondents have considered quitting driving to focus on their other job. So it shows that out of the 11 respondents who have another source of income, 5 of them have considered quitting driving to focus on the other job, and the remaining 6 have not. And in terms of the respondents that answered yes, 3 of them answered that their reason is to focus on the other job, and 1 respondent each said that his reason is to focus on the other job because of his age, while the other one said that his farm used to give sufficient income. And in terms of the respondent that answered no, 3 of them said that they did not consider quitting because they need all the income that they could get, and 1 respondent for each of these answered no because he earns more as a tricycle driver, his form of pastime activity, and the other one will lose income if he quits driving. The data indicated that most of the respondents are making ends meet by working hard in all the jobs they have. This agreed with the statement, the negligence of the government to the basic demands of the transport community has led to coercing the said sector to push through a nationwide agitation once more. Okay, proceeding to the last SOP, which is number 4, that talks about the livelihood proposals to help tricycle drivers. This category presented the various livelihood programs the respondents are a part of, or if they are not a part of any, and how they perceive livelihood programs in general in a scale of strongly agree to strongly disagree, which were utilized for a livelihood proposal. Proceeding to table number 11, it shows if these respondents are a part of a livelihood program. It showed that only 2 of the respondents are part of a livelihood program, and the remaining 28 are not. And in terms of the respondents that said yes, there is 1 respondent each who answered for sustainable livelihood program, and the other one is for peace. The data indicated that most of the respondents are not part of any livelihood programs, and this contradicted the statement that the Philippines has been given 9.5 billion in appropriations to assist them in bouncing back from the inflictions of the coronavirus pandemic. Moving on to chart number 13, it shows if the tricycle drivers are in favor with the help that the barangay officials or the municipality has been providing. It showed that 8 of the respondents strongly agree that they are in favor of the assistance provided by barangay officials or the municipality. 18 of them agree, and 3 of them answered neutral to the statement. And the remaining 1 respondent said he disagrees. The data indicated that majority of the respondents are satisfied with the assistance being provided to them, and this backed up the statement. Although the transport sector's plea for support packages and subsidies has not yet been talked about on a federal level, there are already some measures taken at the municipal and state levels. Moving on to chart number 14. Which discusses the livelihood program, which talks about if a livelihood program can make a significant change in the tricycle driver's life. It showed that 6 of the respondents strongly agree that by having a livelihood program, there can be a significant change in their life during and after the pandemic. 18 of them agreed to the statement, and 3 were neutral, and the remaining 3 respondents disagreed to the statement. It indicated that majority of the respondents believe that they will be able to have a better life with the presence of livelihood programs. And the interpretation supported the statement. Various skills and livelihood programs will be provided to drivers and operators that will take part in PUVMP. And this was made possible through the partnership between DOTR and TESDA. It was stated under their agreement that DOTR will be allotting $350 million as a fund for TESDA to jumpstart the skills training and social assistance for the people at the stake of the modernization program. And chart number 15 discusses the livelihood program over weekly or monthly cash assistance. So between the two choices, 7 of the respondents strongly agree that they prefer a livelihood program over a weekly or monthly cash assistance. 18 of them said that they agree, 2 were neutral to the statement, and the remaining 3 disagreed. The data indicated that majority of the respondents will prefer a livelihood program over any cash assistance. And generally, it did not agree with the idea stated in the statement of Satyawati that the government also provided BLT or direct cash assistance funds to villages, which amounted to IDR 4.3 trillion, about USD 300 million through Kelurahan, which is Indonesia's smallest local government unit. And chart number 16 discusses if these tricycle drivers will be supportive of the livelihood programs that will be done by LGUs. It showed that 12 of the respondents strongly agree that they will be supportive of any livelihood programs that would be done by the LGUs. 16 of them agreed, and the remaining 2 answered neutral. It indicated that no respondent is against in supporting whatever livelihood programs the LGUs will provide. And generally, the interpretation agreed with the thought of the statement. This will be used by the tricycle drivers for operating their own motorcycle repair and bodybuilding shop, and fast-moving basic spare parts trading, which will serve as their alternative source of income. Proceeding to table number 12, which is the further interpretation and the weighted average mean of the previous charts, which were chart 17 to 20. So it presented that in terms of chart 17, the weighted average mean is 4.10, which can be interpreted that the respondents agree with the statement. In terms of chart 18, the weighted average mean is 3.90, which can be interpreted that the respondents agree with the statement. And in terms of chart 19, the weighted average mean is 3.97, which can be interpreted that the respondents agree with the statement. And lastly, in terms of chart number 20, the weighted average mean is 4.33, which can be interpreted that the respondents strongly agree with the statement. These were based on the baseline interpretation of data that can be found in Chapter 3 or the methodology. It indicated that the overall remarks of the respondents regarding the statements lean toward the positive side. Proceeding to chart number 17 that discusses the tricycle drivers' suggested livelihood programs. It showed that 7 of the respondents answered that anything will do, 4 of them said funds for those who have a farm, and 3 respondents each said funds for a business, and some said funds for a livestock. 2 respondents each said livestock and livelihood programs, and some said other job opportunities, and the remaining respondents, there is 1 respondent each who answered for funds for business and livestock. Funds provide the tricycle driver with their own unit, grocery items for a sari-sari store, livelihood programs, and monthly fund for todas, programs that match the driver's skills and abilities, programs that support the wife and children of the tricycle drivers, and vaccination and funds for a business. The data indicated that the livelihood programs suggested by the respondents cover a wide array of options, and generally the interpretation was in line with the idea behind fintech loans, which is the tricycle drivers that have secured fintech loans to purchase their units have pioneered more revenue and savings as they became more responsible for their finances. It highlights the benefits that, according to Asian Development Bank or ADB, innovation and technology enhancing to financing will bring small businesses to the Philippines. Proceeding to Chapter 5, which will discuss the findings, conclusions, and recommendations. This chapter contained the summarization of the researchers' findings that were based on the data acquired during the collection process. The researcher was able to apprehend the common patterns and themes from the responses of the interviewed individuals. This in turn assisted the researcher in drawing up conclusions that could possibly serve as the answers of the questions seen in the statement of the problem. The recommendations of the researcher regarding the conducted research could also be found in this chapter. So first, here are the summary of the findings. Based on the conducted interview, all of the tricycle drivers who served as the study's respondents are driving legally and have enough knowledge regarding driving etiquette. All of the respondents are of the male sex, and most of them are already in their early or late 50s. They all live within the premises of Palomaloc, and most of them have been a tricycle driver for 10 or more years. Most of them own the tricycle unit that they are using daily, and all of them are members of a specific association or TODAS. Most of them would reach an income amounting to 500 and more before the pandemic, but it has significantly dropped to around 301 to 400 pesos due to the presence of coronavirus. And in the SOP number 2, the findings show that most of the tricycle drivers are in favor of asking the municipality to increase the current passenger fare. As of the meantime, most of them share common strategies in maintaining regular income, which is to ask the passengers to at least add an additional fare and to make use of the combination method or participate in taking rounds or the torno, and while waiting for their turn, they drive around as a striker. And the summary of the finding of SOP number 2 is that based on the data, most of the tricycle drivers have no other source of income, and their only way of earning is through driving. The few respondents who do have another source of income also said that they earn more in being a tricycle driver compared to their other job. And one of the most answered other sources of income has something to do with farming. And regarding SOP number 4, the summary of the finding is that based on the statistics, Most of the respondents are currently not a member of a livelihood program. Most of them prefer a livelihood program instead of cash assistance and are satisfied with the assistance that the municipality and LGUs are providing them. They also believe that a livelihood program will help make significant changes in their lives, and most of them also answered that they will support any of the livelihood programs that the LGU will develop for them. And all of the respondents had an answer to what livelihood program they would like to implement, and the most common response was that any livelihood program will do. Proceeding to the conclusion, based on the research findings, the researcher therefore concludes that the tricycle drivers in Palomaloc, South Cotabato, are still abiding to the laws that were dedicated for them. But their efforts were still not enough to make up for the decrease in income that was caused by the COVID-19 pandemic. The presence of the virus has negatively impacted their lifestyles by having insufficient income despite of driving for long hours and risking their health in the time of the pandemic just to provide for their daily needs. And to make up for the aforementioned things, the respondents made use of various strategies in order to at least have enough profit to survive for another day, such as using the combination method and working multiple jobs. The researcher has also come to conclude that most of the respondents were not given an opportunity to be a part of a livelihood program, but all of them are very much in favor of supporting and being a beneficiary of those kinds of assistance. So here are the recommendations of my study. Based on the findings and conclusions presented, here are the things that I would be suggesting. So I, the researcher, recommends the tricycle drivers that they should formally present their concerns to the municipality or their respective LGUs. And in return, the municipality and LGUs should listen to their concerns, taking into consideration the increase of fare price and offering livelihood programs that mainly focuses on tricycle drivers and figure out ways to support the said sector until the long run. Next, I would recommend that the municipality and LGUs should also initiate livelihood programs that will assist the tricycle drivers to prevent immoral ways of earning additional income. Third, I recommend that this study will be made use and further expanded by a new researcher who is conducting a similar study. For instance, if the municipality and LGUs already implemented livelihood programs, the respondents who answered can be followed upon and asked new questions regarding their experience and how the provided programs have assisted them. And lastly, it is recommended that the new researcher will research on the livelihood programs implemented in the future, if there would be any, and look up if tricycle drivers are part of the beneficiaries. And lastly, the findings of the study might be useful to the municipality and LGUs. Using the data collected, they could use it as a basis in creating livelihood programs that will suit and agree with what the tricycle drivers have suggested in this research. So here is a documentation as to when I conducted the study. So I conducted the study last year during the months of August and the dates of August 6, 7, and August 11. So the collection process took about 3 days. So as you can see at the first picture, here were the respondents from the Coral Proper Toda, from Magsaysay and Silway Otso Toda. Here is also a picture from the Friendly More Toda, the Hopland Toda President, the Pakikisama Toda, the Sulit Toda, and the Hopland Toda as well. So that would be all. Thank you so much for your time and for your patience and listening. So I, the researcher, is already open for any questions, clarifications, or suggestions.
Thank you so much, Ms. Habla. Now let's have Mr. Jaime. Sir?
Good morning, Claire.
Good morning, sir.
I only have one question. What is the relevance of your research in today's LGU project or programs for the LGU?
Thank you for your question, sir. I believe that this study's relevance is to become an eye-opener for the LGUs and the municipality regarding their shortcomings on the transport sector, especially in the tricycle drivers. So I believe by having this study, this will serve as a basis for a livelihood program that they could come up, since as the findings from my study, they could already decipher, or they already know what are the struggles that the tricycle drivers are facing. So I believe that this would be essential for them to come up with strong and feasible and, of course, programs that would really be beneficial for the tricycle drivers.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Sir RJ. Now, may I call on Ma'am Honey?
Apologies for the background sort of ano lang siya.
It's okay, ma'am.
Anyway, hello, Miss Claire. No, thank
Hello,
you
Ma'am
for
Honey.
this
Good morning.
good action research, no.
Thank you,
Since
ma'am.
a particular sector yung naging focus mo, no, which really
Yes, ma'am.
affected because of the pandemic na situation. So I would like to ask mainly on sa methodology, no, particularly in the selection of your respondents. I am curious, since you already mentioned the dates when you conducted the gathering, no, the survey questioning now with your respondents. Ano yung pinaka naging main criteria mo talaga in selecting them, no, particularly sa mga respondents mo? And I would like to ask, why only 30? No, parang I know if meron tayong idea lang, halimbawa sa different kinds of sampling in selecting mga respondents.
Thank you for your question, ma'am. Actually, this study made use of the purposive sampling method, and I, as a researcher, was the one who chose the respondents for this study. And regarding the question as to why there were only 30 respondents, I actually discussed this with my validator, and she actually said that the original respondents was actually 60 respondents, but she said that due to the implications of the coronavirus pandemic, it would be such a large sample size and I would be more exposed to the coronavirus. So we decided to just diminish or lessen the sample size to just 30 respondents. But I still believe that even if there are only 30 respondents, it is still a viable and a feasible study, because those 30 respondents were not handpicked. They were basically the respondents who were present at the time of conducting the said study.
So you mean parang on the spot, you ask them na parang if they are willing to answer your survey?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So wala nang initial or preliminary na approach doon sa particular organization that you will have the time na magpunta ka doon para mag-research?
No, ma'am. We didn't have the time to do a preliminary interview with them po.
I understand that given the experience, parang ganyan, na meron lang background how to do the research. And then
Yes,
another
ma'am.
question I would like to ask, since I think your research is, we can consider na baseline information siya, no? And I think the specific audience that you want to know further about the results ay yung LGU. No? So
Yes,
how
ma'am.
you will communicate, no, these our policymakers, no, in about the result no ng inyong study. Paano mo siya, how you will deliver it, no? Paano mo siya i-communicate with them? There is a need, no, to address the concerns of this particular sector sa inyong community.
After conducting this research, rather, I was actually meaning to discuss this study to the LGUs and the municipality, but sadly I wasn't still able to do so. So in order for me to tell them about my study, to tell them about the findings of the study, I would first deepen my research and finalize the data and to ensure that everything is viable and that everything is viable. And in order for me to let my voice be heard and for them to give me the chance and their attention to listen to my study, I would be in contact with my validators, with my educators here in SLSPI, so that I would have connections to the municipality. And of course, I would personally go there to at least book a schedule with them so that there would be a formal meeting regarding the study.
So I think pwedeng ma-replicate yung research mo, Claire,
Yes,
with
ma'am.
other municipalities. I don't know if may mga social researches din na ginakandak ito yung mga ibang LGUs. So it's commendable. No? It's a good
Yes,
action
ma'am.
research. So
Thank
with
you,
that,
ma'am.
congratulations, Miss Claire.
Thank you, Ma'am Honey.
Thank you, Ma'am Honey. Now let's have Sir Sandy Rivera. Sir?
Hi, congratulations to Miss Sabla for having this research.
Thank you, Sir Sandy.
Very timely pa rin research and
Thank you,
very
sir.
wide ang kanyang range. So indeed, tricycle drivers are one of the most affected sectors, not just with the pandemic, but also with the recent increase in the price of gasoline nowadays.
Yes, sir.
So my question is, what inspired you to have this kind of study?
Thank you for that question, sir. If you would allow me, I would actually want to share a quick backstory as to how I came across with this study. Originally, this wasn't the study that I initially planned to conduct. But after discussing and reflecting with my father, he actually told me that why not research about the current situation of tricycle drivers. And by discussing that with him, it actually piqued my interest that it is a timely and essential problem in our society now, especially here in Palomalok, since tricycle drivers are our main source of transportation. So I wanted to represent them. And what inspired me to really go through with this study is because I felt the need to be their voice and to be their representative, because I know that some of them, or almost all of them, as I've conversed with them, told that they did not have the guts to actually address this problem. So I was inspired, and I was inspired because I wanted to be their voice, and I empathize with their problem as well and their struggles, since not everyone lives in a bubble of privilege to think about the future. And these tricycle drivers are actually the people who just strive to survive for just another day in their lives.
Yes, thank you. Congratulations
Thank you,
and
Sir
thank you.
Sandy. Thank you, Sir Sandy.
Thank you, Sir Sandy. Now, may I call on Ma'am Geraldine Hinalao. Ma'am, please.
Congratulations for conducting this research.
Thank you, Ma'am Geraldine.
This is very timely, but it is very challenging. This is very challenging because
Excuse me, Ma'am Geraldine. Nakamute po kayo, ma'am.
have you informed our drivers that you will, our LGU, that you will conduct this research?
Can you repeat your question, ma'am? You were muted a while ago po kasi.
Did you inform the LGU that you will conduct this research?
No, ma'am. I actually wasn't able to inform the LGUs that I would be conducting this research.
Okay. So, why did you come up this research?
As I've said a while ago, ma'am, regarding to Sir Sandy's question, I actually conducted this research because I felt the need to be the voice of the tricycle drivers, and I empathize with their problem as well, since Of course, everyone was affected by the coronavirus pandemic. Everyone had to stay at home. Everyone had lesser income. So I thought to myself that if I'm already having a hard time as per the situation during the coronavirus pandemic, how much more are these tricycle drivers? And I know that they did not have the time to address their problems to the municipality since they were still busy surviving just for a single day in their lives. So I wanted to speak up for them. I wanted to speak up for them and let their struggles be known to the municipality. And in concern with
Okay.
letting this study be known to the municipality, I will be doing that, but not right as of the moment.
Okay. So do you have anybody in the LGU that you can present the result of your studies? Kasi this will be a policy direction for the LGU. Did you ever had the chance to interview that there are already programs existing for the tricycle drivers, like the livelihood program?
As of this moment, ma'am, I do not have any connections with the local government units here in the municipality of Polomolok. And I also did not have the chance to interview or relay this study to them. Since
Okay. So you can make connection to your through your principal, then to the district head of Pulumulok Central, Pulumulok 1 district, so that the result of your research will be presented to the LGU. Your study will be in vain if you cannot present this to the LGU. They are the right person to make an action of your research, right?
yes, ma'am, I'm actually aiming to
So,
seek an audience with the soon-to-be newly elected members of the municipality and to discuss this with the DSWDO later on, if I will be given the opportunity.
because, okay, very good.
Thank you, ma'am.
But you really need assistance from your teachers, from your
Yes, ma'am.
principal, so that this study will be useful and there will be policy direction to be given by our local government unit. Kasi malaki ito malaking the first time that I've heard that somebody had conducted action research like this. Congratulations.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you, Ma'am Geraldine.
Thank you, Ma'am Geraldine. Now let's have Ma'am Nara.
Hello, Claire. Congratulations.
Good morning, Ma'am Nara. Thank you.
Good morning. So, I believe this study is more like a phenomenological research, diba? Where you describe the lived experiences of the tricycle drivers. I know the process is so challenging, but I know also that it is kind of worth your while, diba? No, so as you go through the process, have you come up with significant findings to which they go beyond your research question? Naka-encounter ka ganyan, Ana? Where you have realizations and significant findings.
Yes, ma'am. I actually have findings that went beyond my research po. And because
Like?
as I interviewed with some of the tricycle drivers, we actually have a one-to-one discussion, and sometimes
Yeah.
our discussions go more than what is in the questionnaires that I've prepared. We would meet, sometimes there were these drivers that I would talk to for more than 30 minutes, and they would share their life story with me. And one of the respondents, one of the tricycle drivers that really stayed in my heart was that when we discussed as to why he continued to ride his tricycle, because he was actually already a senior citizen. He was already in his late in his early 80s rather. And he was supposed to be retired in driving, but he said that he wanted to go back to driving since his children got laid back from their jobs. So he said that he wanted to step up and support his family. So there's one thing that he said to me, if you will allow me to speak in vernacular. He said, na lisod man daw ang panagat, pero
Yeah, go ahead.
yes, thank you, ma'am. Lisod man daw ang panagat, pero tong gamay nga income nga iyang makuha kay mas okay na to kaysa sa wala siya income, kay katong income nga to ang nagabuhi sa iyang pamilya. So as he said that to me, it became an eye-opener that in reality, we really have to be concerned and to empathize with the situation that they currently have. So I guess aside of that, what I really realized there is that the municipality wasn't able to really hear out their voices and to get to know what are the struggles of the people or their citizens here in Polomolok.
Okay, Claire. So, heartwarming no siya na na-experience, no? So,
yes, ma'am.
Upon coming up with your kanang result, do you have in mind what could be the best livelihood programs for these tricycle drivers?
In regards to the findings of my research, ma'am, I think that the best livelihood program for them would be in relation to a business, since most of them, or at least if I'm not mistaken, there were tons of the respondents that said they wanted to have funds for a business. So the business that I have in mind right now is a auto parts or repair shop or business, which can still be beneficial for the tricycle drivers, since it would be a place that they could go to get their parts for their tricycles. They do not have the need to go to other localities or other places. And of course, this would also be beneficial for other types of transportation here in Palomolok, such as cars, since these tricycle drivers, if they do not have, if it is their free time, or it is not yet their turn as they have their turnos, then they could be the ones who will manage this basic and auto repair shop, ma'am. So I guess if I will be given the chance to present this to the municipality, that would be one of the livelihood programs that I would be presenting to them.
Okay, thank you so much, Claire. Congratulations.
Thank you, Ma'am Nara.
Thank you so much, Claire, and
Thank you,
congratulations
sir.
once again.
Thank you, panel. Thank
So,
you
shall
so
we now
much.
proceed? Thank you. Shall we now proceed to our next researcher?
Okay, thank you, Sir Jason. Congratulations once again, Miss Habla. Now let's proceed to our fourth presenter for this morning. We have Miss Nicole Dumpa with her research title, A Proposed E-Tour Website for Polomolok Biodiversity. Miss Nicole, kindly share your presentation.
Good morning, everyone. Please wait for a while for I will show my screen.
Okay, while waiting for Nicole's presentation this morning, I'd like to inform all the panelists that later after the presentation, we will be asking for a short insights from you so that we will also be able to apply these insights in our future researchers. Thank you. Once again, let's welcome Miss Nicole Joyce Dumpa.
So, good morning, everyone. Good morning, my co-researchers, the educators, and especially to the panelists. I am the representative of the biodiversity team for this school year. My name is Nicole Joyce Dumpa, and I would like to share to you our research entitled Proposed Teacher Website for Palamalak Biodiversity. This research is all about producing or creating a website which everyone can access as long as they have an internet connection and a working device. The purpose of this research is for the people to know what is in Gully 113 AB without actually going in the area. Now let's proceed to the statement of the problem. This research should answer the questions: what is the demographic profile of the respondents? Next, is educational website for virtual ecological tour accessible to all in terms of navigation and usability? Next is, what is the effectiveness of website appearance in terms of one, aesthetic style, color combination, graphic, and layout? And lastly, this research should answer the question, what is the effectiveness of website in terms of content's readability and relevance of the study? Now let's proceed to the scope and delimitation of our study. This study focused on the data collection of flora and fauna along the identified gullies. The Mahindana Foundation Incorporated suggested skipping 200 to 300 meters for the safety of researchers due to the elevated areas around the gullies. The duration of the research will last up to 2 months, October and November. For the chapter 4, for this chapter, we have here the tables of how we got our weighted average based on the data we've had. We got these results by calculating the number of responses multiplied to the rating, then the result is divided by the total number of the respondents. For this table right here, it shows the weighted average mean of students and teachers in St. Lorenzo School of Pulamulok Incorporated who rated the accessibility of the website. Navigation has a weighted average mean of 3.96, while the usability has 4.07 with a remark of all often agree. Next, we have here the table 2. This table shows the rate of the students and teachers in SLSPI who assess the appearance of the website. In terms of aesthetic style, its weighted average mean is 3.81 with a remark of often agree. The usability has a weighted average mean of 4.04, graphics has a weighted average mean of 4.09, and layout has a weighted average mean of 3.96, with all remark of very good. Next table we have here, this table shows the rate of students and teachers of SLSPI who assess the contents of the website. The content has a weighted average mean of 4.3. Readability has a weighted average mean of 4.27. And to its relevance to the study, its weighted average mean is 4.23, with all remark of excellent. Chapter 5. We have here the summary of accessibility of, accessibility of ecological for virtual ecological tour. There are two bases to determine the accessibility of the website: navigation and usability. Navigation has a weighted average of 3.96, noted that the website is easy to navigate, but sometimes lag. Usability has a weighted average mean of 4.07, asserted that the website is functional and somehow informative. Next is aesthetic style, color combination, graphics, and layout are the basis to determine the effectiveness of the appearance of websites. Aesthetic style has a weighted average mean of 3.81, and it stated that the website is pleasing in the eyes. Color combination has a weighted average mean of 4.04 with a remark of very good. state that the website is eye-catching, but some texts are not readable. Graphics has a weighted average mean of 4.09 with a comment of very good. Note that the graphic has a high quality and clear. The layout has a weighted average mean of 3.96 with a remark of very good. Assert that the website is well organized. The three bases to determine the effectiveness of the content of websites are readability, content, and relevance to the study. Readability has a weighted average mean of 4.27 with a remark of excellent. Note that the font style, font size, and font color of the text is pleasing in the eyes, which gives the reader no difficulty in reading it. Content has a weighted average mean of 4.31 with a remark of excellent. Asserted that the content of the website has a new relevant information about Palomalox's biodiversity and website is easy to navigate. Relevance of the study has a weighted average mean of 4.23 with a remark of excellent. Stated that the whole website provided the right information and is highly related to the study. So our research conclusion, the data of flora and fauna was encoded on the website for a virtual ecological tour. The researchers collected the data by Transect Walk method with the Mahintana Foundation Incorporated. The researchers used a self-made survey questionnaire for the assessment of the website. Through this, the researchers was able to gather information for improving the website. For the overall result of the study regarding its accessibility and effectiveness in terms of appearance and contents, this study concludes that the website is accessible to all, has a very good appearance, and has an excellent content for students and teachers. The success of this study helps the students and teachers become informed regarding the biodiversity in the gully. Our group's recommendation for this research is to add more features in the website, for example, videos. And number two, we have here improve the appearance of the website, especially in aesthetic style. And next is update all features in the website and add navigation guide for other beginner who is using the website. Before I end or accept any queries for this research, I will first show you the website that our group has made. Wait for a while. So this is our website that we have produced. We've entitled it as Seeing Palomaloc Through the Eyes of My Lens, an electronic tour website. So we have here, you can see the different faunas and floras in Gully 113A. If you click right here, you will go to this part of the website. These are all the faunas in the Gully 113AB. And if you click here, you will go back to home. And we have here, right here is the whole paper or the whole informations needed how we made our research. And that's it. So thank you. Do you have any questions, clarifications, or suggestions to make this research better?
Okay, thank you, Miss Dumpa. Now I think that you are ready for the comments and questions from our panel. Let's start with Sir Jaime.
Yes, good morning, Miss Dumpa.
Good morning, sir.
Yeah, good morning. I only have one question. What's the relevance of your website, ITER website, in today's educational system?
Uh, the relevance of our our research ICAR website is to make use of our technology nowadays. And since the COVID-19 has resulted in schools shut down and all over the globally, education has changed dramatically with the distinctive rise of e-learning, whereby teaching is undertaken remotely and on digital platforms. With our website, we bring the biodiversity strips in the classroom and let them, the viewers or visitors of our website, explore the biodiversity through ecological tour. And they don't have to go to the actual place. They just have to visit our website and they will know what's in the Gali 113 AB.
Can you paste here in our chat so that um, everybody can have a chance to visit your website? Okay, no more questions asked.
Okay po, sir.
Okay, thank you, Sir Jaime. Let's have Mr. Sandy Rivera.
Okay, good morning. Hello.
Good morning, Sir Sandy.
Good morning, Miss Dumpa. Congratulations and for your team for this innovation. Actually, I've been there in the Gali and was amazed also by what I saw thanks to Sir Jaime. And it has a very rich biodiversity talaga doon. So my question is, what are your expectations after you have conducted this research and then you publish your innovations with this website? So what are your expectations?
Thank you for that question, Sir Sandy. I expect that people or students like me would know more about the Gali and the biodiversity of Palamalok, of how diverse Palamalok's biodiversity is, and there's more in our place. I expect them to be, after viewing our website, I expect them to be more interested in knowing what's in our place and what Palamalok can offer. That's all, sir.
Thank you, thank you. I have a follow-up question lang. Are you planning to coordinate your innovation or to show your innovation to other agencies such as the LGU? For you to have a funding siguro.
Yes, sir. The team plans to do that, sir, because I believe that we cannot work on our own without the government support. So we plan to contact LGUs to help us regularly check the gullies and update what's in the gully and do what we have to do, like planting more trees, or anything that can make the gully a better place for the floras and fauna.
Okay, that's all. Thank you again,
you,
Ms.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Sandy. Let's have Ma'am Hani Badilies.
Hello, Miss Nicole.
Hello, Ma'am Hani.
For that good actually na development of your own web page. My first question, I am curious actually, where did you get yung parang mga inventory ng mga iba't ibang flora and fauna in that area?
We got the data, ma'am, from the previous biodiversity team, and we just updated the data by going to the gully.
Okay, so not totally you rely doon sa available na data ng Mahintana Foundation?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so but I can recall parang sa previous na merong ganitong research, one student also I think na presented a research about it. So parang ito na yung part 2
na mayroong development na ng webpage. Parang ganun siguro yung aking
Apa, ma'am.
okay. So anyway, I am curious with your methodology as well, no? Same kanina sa natin, previous na presenter. Given that sa pag-conduct ng survey, okay, paano yung process na yung pag-gather ng mga responses nila? The same ba yung process na on the spot, you did the questioning and then pag-respond nila sa inyong questionnaire? Or meron silang enough time to explore more about your website? Kasi I think it will affect doon sa responses nila. Kung sa time, no? Sa availability ng time or parang meron siyang factor ba, no, doon sa response nila, and it can affect doon sa rating nila, no, doon sa inyong gustong hanapin, no, na pag-evaluate halimbawa ng inyong webpage na
So we used the sampling procedure, ma'am. We made a form or purposive sampling. And then we gathered data. We had students and teachers of SLSPI to answer a form, and then the data gathered, we conducted a survey, and then the data gathered, we solved it with the formula of I showed a while ago, average mean, and we gave them, the students and the teachers, we gave them 2 days for them to answer the survey that we have made.
So that's why, no, may enough time siguro to be not biased or parang fairness, no, doon sa pag-respond.
Yes, ma'am.
Doon naman sa pinaghirapan ng student to develop the webpage. Okay? So, what if, no, kayo naman sa point of view ng mga researchers, since also you were the developers ng inyong webpage, if you will rate your own webpage from 1 is 4 and then 5 is excellent, how you will rate your own webpage? Okay? From the accessibility, from the appearance, and then as well as in your content.
I would give our website, ma'am, a 4 because it needs to be more accessible to the others, ma'am. Our website is like a baby website pa po, and it needs more updating. Yes, ma'am, that's all po.
So I think your teachers, no, will guide you along the way sa development ng mga research. And I think the school can be the one na parang sila na yung mag-sponsor for the maintenance ng inyong webpage. Kasi usable siya po, no, you can use it for instructional material, no, sa mga subjects related to the topic, no, about biodiversity. So anyway, with that, congratulations again sa team mo.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, Ma'am Honey. Now let's have Ma'am Nara, please.
Congratulations, Nicole, and to your team.
Thank you, ma'am.
My question is so simple. What are the challenges you have encountered while conducting your research, and how did you cope up?
The challenges, yes, ma'am, thank you. The challenges, ma'am, that we have encountered, the team encountered while conducting this study, well, the main problem of our team that we have encountered during the making of this study is probably the COVID surges, ma'am. As the cases of COVID-19 rises, the schedule of our Transect walk kept moving po. So the time for conducting our research took longer than expected. So we cope up with this problem by first, well, we cheered up our group mates because we needed it. Because at some point we thought, what if we can't do the transect walk? Then our study will not be completed. But thankfully, the Maritana Foundation, they agreed that we do the transect walk, but only one time. Usually it takes two transect walks, but we did it for one time.
Okay, good job, good job.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you very much, Ma'am Nara. Now let's have Ma'am Geraldine, please, ma'am.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning, Ma'am Geraldine.
Congratulations.
Thank you
Uh,
po.
how did you come up with your research? Anong nagpa-inspire sa'yo para i-conduct mo ito?
We were our educators, they asked us who was interested to study the biodiversity research, and it caught my attention because they said we will have a field conducting of the research. So, and I thought, why not I
Okay.
join? Yes, ma'am. And then I joined, and thankfully they let me in with the biodiversity team.
Okay. So during the conduct of this research, what were the learnings, the insights that you had gained while conducting the research?
While conducting this research, ma'am, I've gained the knowledge that there is more floras and faunas our in Polomolok. There are birds in the gully that I cannot see in my day-to-day life. And while doing this research, I've also learned the importance of teamwork as I am working with a team. That's all, ma'am.
Wala akong ano. Okay. So what do you think are the benefits of the results of your research? The benefit to the community as well as to the learners in your school and to the faculty of your school.
And the finding of this study, ma'am, will benefit the society considering the electronic website will develop people's knowledge about the existence of flora and fauna. And the study was conceptualized and materialized specifically for the community, the success of this. And to the researchers, us the researchers, we've got knowledge from the gully that there is more to our gully, as I have said earlier. And to the students, they will gain knowledge as they will know by visiting our website. They will know the what's in the gully of 113 AB, and it will also benefit the biology subject collaboration in our school as
Okay.
flora and fauna, as flora and fauna is under the biology subject.
Okay. Thank you. Congratulations.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, Miss Nicole, and congratulations.
Thank
Now
you,
let's
sir.
proceed to our last researcher for today.
Thank you, Ms. Dumpa. Thank you, Sir Jason. Let's proceed with our last researcher for this morning. For today, we have Ms. Ilona Castañares for her research entitled Efficacy of Eco-adhesive from Different Plant Saps. So, Ms. Castañares, you can now share your presentation.
Good morning, everyone. Am I audible?
Loud and clear.
Okay. Good day, everyone. I am Miliona Castañares, a grade 12 STEM student of SLSPI. I am grateful and honored to present my research entitled Efficacy of Eco-adhesive from Different Plant Sap. My research is all about determining the ability of using different plant sap as an alternative components for eco-adhesive through bonding different yet appropriate materials. It is called eco-adhesive because it is mainly formulated with natural resources, which are the different plant saps such as Chrysophyllum cainito sap, Carica papaya sap, and Araucaria heterophylla resin. So for the statement of the problem, this study aims to test the efficacy of eco-adhesive using different plant sap. This research aims to answer the following questions. What is the effectiveness of eco-adhesive from different plant sap based on glue-up test and heat and humidity test? Glue-up test is the process of presenting the bonding capability of adhesives to substrate and help to determine and evaluate its setting speed. And heat and humidity test is the test conducted under room temperature to measure the amount of curl between a glue and a substrate. It determines how well a bond will hold. So number 2 is how much amount of plant sap will be combined for eco-adhesive. It will be specified through different treatments with different measurements of plant sap together with the base ingredients. Number 3 is which specific materials is the eco-adhesive applicable to. So the materials used in application and observations are paper to paper, paper to plastic, paper to polystyrene foam, paper to wood, and paper to fabric. And lastly, is there any significant differences among the treatments in terms of glue-up test result? For the scope and the limitation, this research aims to test the effectiveness of different plant sap from Chrysophyllum cainito, Carica papaya, and Araucaria heterophylla tree as eco-adhesive. The materials needed are available in Palomloc, South Cotabato. This eco-adhesive are needed to be applied into different materials such as paper to paper, paper to plastic, paper to polystyrene foam, paper to wood, and paper to fabric to test its efficacy. The product required to undergo 2 methods of testing such as glue-up test and heat and humidity test with 3 treatments and 3 replicates each treatment. The duration of this research lasts up to 2 months from June to August. So for the research paradigm, the plant sap that are used for the product making are star apple, papaya, and Norfolk Island pine. And the process the process in product making are preparing, gathering, measuring, mixing, boiling, application, and testing. And there are base ingredients, which are the water, flour, and vinegar that are added to the treatments 1, 2, and 3 to form an eco-adhesive that are ready for application, and it is applied to paper to paper, paper to plastic, paper to polystyrene foam, paper to wood, and paper to fabric, and it observes through the glue-up test and heat and humidity test. And it proceeds to the data gathering, tabulation of results, data analysis, mean scores and ANOVA, and interpretation of data and conclusions. Next is the chapter 4. This chapter contains the presentation and discussion of data analysis and the results of the study. The data and the results of the study are presented through the table followed by the explanations of each of the table presented. The results and findings are interpreted based on the mean scores of the data presented that are arranged and related to the statement of the problem of the study. So this is the table for the effectiveness of eco-adhesives from different plant sap based on glue-up test and heat and humidity test. So for the interpretation, the table shows the data of average result of each material in doing the glue-up test and heat and humidity test of each treatment. The treatments are applied to the materials and conducted the observation within about 25 hours. Each treatment has 3 replicates and each material has 3 samples to apply each treatment. Every material has different results in each treatment and it was recorded through the results of glue-up test and heat and humidity test. These results show the differences of each treatment when applied to the materials. Each result also have remarks based on the description given in the research instrument. Next is the bar graph of the treatment with most effective amount of plant sap combined for eco-adhesive. For the interpretation, the graph shows the results of each treatment in terms of its efficacy. The results are presented through the data being gathered and for finding its average. The data of each material from the observation and applying the treatment product are being collected and find its average. The chart shows the result of treatment 2 is the most effective among the treatments being applied on the materials. Next is another chart for the best material that eco-adhesive most applicable. So for the interpretation, the graph shows the result of each material being observed with the application of each treatment product. This explains that each samples of the materials are being applied with 3 treatments of eco-adhesive and observed for 25 hours. It concludes that the results are through finding the average of the data being collected in each material and its testing methods, which are the glue-up test and the heat and humidity test. The graph shows that the material, paper to wood, has the largest average with the average rating of 4.78 among all the materials used for the study. So next is the data showing the differences among the treatments in terms of glue-up test, and it undergoes the testing of the ANOVA test. So for the interpretation, in Table 4, it shows the average results of the glue-up test to each treatment and the materials being applied with eco-adhesive. This explains that there are differences in the results of glue-up test. To conclude the interpretation of the table, it means that the results of the glue-up test are depending on the materials being used in applying the treatment product. In the ANOVA test, even though there are differences in the scores, this would still determine if there is a significant differences or does not. However, the different compositional measurements vary in the results of glue-up test through the application of different treatments and the materials used. The p-value is equal to 0.347948, which will determine the significant difference of the study. Chapter 5 consists of the summary, conclusion, and recommendations of the researcher for the overall outcome of the study. For the summary of efficacy of eco-adhesive in terms of glue-up test and heat and humidity test, there are 3 treatments and 5 materials used for method of testing and finding the results. The results are through the data being collected in testing glue-up test and heat and humidity test in each material with 3 replicates of each treatment. The data shows the differences of each treatment in working on with the application of eco-adhesive, and it shows the efficacy of eco-adhesive in its treatment through presenting the mean scores. For the most effective formulation, the 3 treatments consist of different amount of plant sap combined. The most effective treatment that best applied to the materials is treatment 2, which has the highest mean score of 4.533 among all the treatments. This treatment includes the 50% of Araucaria heterophylla resin and 25% of Chrysophyllum cainita sap and Carica papaya sap. This was applied into different materials such as paper to paper, paper to polystyrene foam, paper to fabric, paper to plastic, and paper to wood. For the summary of the best material used to apply eco-adhesive, there are 5 sets of material used for the application of each treatment. The best material that has the highest mean score among all the materials is paper to wood. Paper to wood is the material that is the highest mean score of 4.67 on heat and humidity test, which leads to the highest mean score in all the materials of 4.78. For the significant differences among the treatments in terms of the glue-up test result, the average results of each treatment and the material being applied with eco-adhesive shows the differences of each treatment and glue-up test. To conclude, it means that the result of the glue-up test are depending on the materials being used to treat in applying the treatment product. In this case, the researcher used a NOVA test, and this will determine if the differences between them are either significant or not. The p-value of is equal to 0.347948. So the null hypothesis is failed to reject. Therefore, there is no significant differences in bonding strength of each treatment with base ingredients mixed with different plant sap. For the conclusion, in this study, it shows the results in terms of glue-up test and heat and humidity test. The results are depending on the different materials used in the application of eco-adhesive due to its surface for bonding. However, this study evaluated 3 treatments and 5 materials used for the application. For the application of this eco-adhesive. Among the 3 treatments, treatment 2 is the most effective and the best material is paper to wood among the 5 materials used based on the data results. Determining the significant differences in terms of its result in glue-up test is due to the use of ANOVA test wherein it resulted null hypothesis is accepted and the alternative hypothesis is rejected. This stated that there is no significant differences among the treatments because it resulted to the p-value of 0.347948, which is greater than the level of significance 0.05. For the recommendation, future researchers must use the important methods of testing, which are the glue-up test and heat and humidity test, through the application of eco-adhesive to different materials. Number 2 is to explore different materials with rare and unique textures or surface and try to use the same materials with the same surfaces for bonding. Number 3 is it is recommended in pouring enough amount of water to the sap collected when storing for a longer time because it might cause to dry out when there is no water. Next is, in addition to the experiment conducted and analysis obtained, further experiment could be explored to find ways to prevent spoilage of the product. And lastly, a study can be conducted using different plant sap with high bonding strength for the production of eco-adhesive. I sincerely appreciate your attention. I'd like to thank you for listening. The researcher is now ready to listen and accept your questions, clarifications, and recommendations.
Okay, thank you, Miss Ilona, and congratulations. Now let's give the floor to Sir Jaime for his questions. Sir Jaime?
Good morning, Eliana. Okay,
Good morning, sir.
what's the relevance of your research today? Because it's online, it's modular, and yet your research was about glue.
This study is about an alternative for an eco-adhesive. I honestly know that there are similar studies about eco-adhesive, but I believe that the difference of this study is that I use uncommon plant saps to combine for the formulation. It is relevant because it might be used in the book publishers, school materials, or any school crafts. There are also crafts projects that this eco-adhesive can be used because according to the study of Gomez in 2019, plant sap is extremely sticky that can be a good characteristic of a glue. Aside from that, it can help to keep the environment clean and it can also help students and teachers who used glue for school crafts. In addition, it also states that in this related study about jackfruit sap is that commercial glue nowadays become more expensive and most students cannot afford it.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Sir Jaime. Let's continue. Let's have Miss Nara. Ma'am Nara.
Hello.
Good morning po.
Congratulations again, no? I just want to ask if what conducting research. Yal, yun na, good morning po. Am I audible?
Not clear po, ma'am.
Hello? 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 Am I audible po?
Yes,
Yes, ma'am.
ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Hello?
Yes,
Yes,
ma'am.
you're audible.
Okay, it seems like Ma'am Nara is experiencing technical problem as of this moment. Shall we proceed to Sir Sandy first?
Yes, good morning again. Congratulations to Ms. Castañares for
Good morning.
this very scientific research. No? And my question is, if you are going to do the study again, would you want to change something, or what changes would you make if there is? Why or why not?
Thank you for that question. So I encountered hard time in the collection of plant sap, especially with Chrysophyllum cainita sap, which really needs to take a longer time to harvest or collect the desired amount so I asked for help. So the limitations of this study is that I am able to make people or try to use my product. So if I would continue to further and deeper this study, I would I would make them observe, evaluate, and say something to help improve my studies, sir. That's all.
That's all. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Sir Sandy. Let's have Ma'am Hani.
Hello, Miss Eleona. Okay, I would like to ask first, no, in the gathering of the materials sa plant, where did you get those mga plant?
Those plant saps, ma'am, are from our farm in Kinilis, in Barangay Kinilis po.
Sa personal, parang family-owned talaga siya na farm, na available yung mga plant.
Yes po.
So, while I'm listening to your presentation kasi a while ago, I'm seeing na parang may potential siya in the market. So, parang sa costing ba, halimbawa, of your product, no, assuming that this will be tawag na, be patronized na sa market, and then magiging, so, ano na siya, kakompetensya siya ng mga common natin na binibili ng super glue. No? And I think siguro, tawag yan, in the pricing of that particular product, kasi may potential siya. No? And I know you really selected this particular plant crops na may characteristics sila na similar to that commercial na super glue. Okay? So, yun yung curious ako kung saan nakakahanap ng ganoong klaseng mga materials. May another question po is, Ms. Leona, during the as well as in the process of doing your research, what do you think yung parang the most challenging aspect, no, doon sa pag-conduct mo? Okay? And how did you come up na parang ma-resolve ito despite na I experience this particular challenge?
In the study in a whole, I did not encounter any problem, but I had a hard time in the collection of plant sap, especially with Chrysophyllum cainita sap. So, and I can say that it is limited because as what I experienced and encountered, I had a hard time to collect the plant sap that I use. But regardless of that issue, the different plant sap that I use are literally different because of its property. Also, in this study, I learned that as a researcher that explores a lot and willing to learn something is that I learned how to be patient, make use of the time properly, being resourceful, and being able to expand the knowledge about this kind of research. I learned how to be a good listener, especially when I'm with my validator, that really guided me and suggested what's best for my study and for its improvement. My study is nothing or is impossible without the help of my chemical engineer validator who has enough knowledge to share her ideas and thoughts about my study.
So I hope you can communicate as well your research mates together with some of your classmates, no? Mga ano ito, big research na siya din actually. And I think they can really provide us, no? Additional siya na knowledge, di ba? Body of knowledge siya yung mga researchers na pinroduce ngayon ng mga students from the San Lorenzo. Okay? Congratulations, Ms. Ariel.
Thank you po.
Thank you, Ma'am Hani. Now let's have Ma'am Geraldine. Ma'am Geraldine? Okay, I guess Mom Geraldine, I think there's a problem with the internet connection, maybe. So I guess that would be the set of questions for our presenter, our last presenter, Miss Ileona Castañares. And I would like to congratulate Miss Ileona Castañares together with our researchers for this morning. We have Miss Dumpa, Miss Habla, Mr. Montejo, Mr. Anteporta. So congratulations for a very good for very great research titles and research studies. So that would be all for this afternoon, for this morning. Sir Jason?
Okay, so may I request everyone to please open your camera for the picture taking, for the photo opportunity. Researchers and panelists, ma'am and sir, kindly open your camera spot for the photo opportunity. Okay, in 1, 2, 3, smile. Okay, thank you so much, researchers. And again, thank you also to our panelists, no, for extending your time and effort. So researchers, you may now leave the meeting, for we are going to have a short talk with the panelists.